It is 3 in the morning, and the world outside is draped in a profound stillness, a quiet that feels both deep and absolute. But in the theater of your mind, the show is in full swing. The room is dark, yet the stage inside your head is blindingly lit, a relentless performance staged for an audience of one. On this stage, the ghosts of yesterday's conversations repeat their lines, tinged with regret and what-ifs. Phantoms of tomorrow's challenges rehearse their scenes, each one a potential catastrophe, a looming failure. You are the sole spectator, captive, forced to watch this endless loop of worry and rumination. This isn't just a sleepless night. It is a state of being, a subtle prison constructed from the very fabric of your own thoughts. You have been told that this is the price of a busy life, the unfortunate but normal static of a modern existence. We are taught to be conquerors, to master schedules, to build careers, to manage finances, to conquer the world outside. Yet, we remain utterly powerless against the tyranny within, becoming restless exiles in the landscape of our own minds. But what if this entire premise is flawed? What if the nightly battle for sleep is a war you were never meant to fight? There exists a timeless path, a gentle wisdom discovered not in a laboratory but in the quiet crucible of human consciousness over 2,500 years ago. It comes from a teacher who was often called the great physician, not of the body but of the mind. He taught that the suffering we experience, the anxiety that steals our peace, and the restlessness that denies us sleep is not a mandatory tax on being alive. It is a curable condition. The cure he prescribed is not a complex ritual or an impossible belief, but a radical return to simplicity. It is a journey back to the one place we have forgotten how to inhabit, the only place where life actually exists, the present moment. He taught that the key to unlocking the chains of worry is not to struggle harder, but to simply stop and to notice the one constant, faithful companion that has been with you since birth, the anchor that holds you to the here and now, your breath. This is the beginning of that journey, a path not of fighting the mind, but of befriending it, a way to find a quiet home within yourself, and from that place of peace, to finally, gently fall asleep. The silence of the night is a magnificent lie. On the surface, the world holds its breath. The cacophony of the day dissolves, and a blanket of quiet seems to cover everything. But for so many of us, this external silence acts as a powerful amplifier for a storm that rages within. The quiet of the room does not bring peace. It simply creates the perfect acoustic conditions for the echoes of the mind to become deafening. Your head on the pillow becomes the center of an echo chamber, where every stray thought, every flicker of worry, every ghost of a memory bounces off the walls of your awareness with relentless intensity. This is the stage upon which the restless mind, a phenomenon the ancients in the East called the monkey mind, performs its most frantic acrobatics. Imagine a monkey, agitated and untamed, trapped inside a room. During the day, the room's doors and windows are wide open. Cars are honking, people are talking, emails are arriving. There are tasks to be done, meals to be eaten. The monkey is distracted, its chaotic energy dispersed by the constant stream of external stimuli. It might leap from the window to a tree outside, chase a sound down the hall, or fixate on a new object brought into the room. But when night comes, all the doors and windows are shut and locked. The distractions vanish. There is nowhere for the monkey to go, nothing new to see. And so, it turns its frantic energy inward, leaping from the furniture to the walls, screeching and tumbling in the sealed space, creating a chaos that feels inescapable precisely because it is contained. This is our mind at night. The manager who kept it occupied all day has gone home, and we are left alone with this untamed energy. This mental chaos is not random. The monkey mind has two favorite branches it swings between, two primary currents of thought that feed the river of our sleeplessness. The first is the branch of the past, the realm of rumination. When the mind swings here, it becomes an obsessive archaeologist of sorrow. It digs through the ruins of yesterday, of last week, of 10 years ago, searching for shards of regret. It unearths conversations and replays them endlessly, editing our lines, wishing we had said something smarter, kinder, or sharper. It puts our mistakes on trial in a courtroom where we are the prosecutor, the judge, and the defendant, and the verdict is always guilty. This is not reflective thinking, which can be productive. This is a toxic feedback loop. Rumination doesn't seek resolution, it seeks reinforcement. It's the mental equivalent of picking at a scab, preventing the wound from ever healing, ensuring the pain remains fresh and immediate. We lie in the dark, physically safe in our beds, yet mentally we are trapped in a past that we are powerless to change, held hostage by ghosts of our own making. The second, equally worn branch is that of the future, the domain of anxiety. When the monkey mind leaps here, it becomes a frantic architect of imaginary disasters. It doesn't just anticipate the future, it catastrophizes it. Its job is to construct countless what-if scenarios, each one more detailed and terrifying than the last. What if I fail the presentation? What if I lose my job? What if this strange ache in my body is a terminal illness? What if my loved ones get hurt? The mind builds these elaborate structures of fear, complete with vivid imagery and emotional soundtracks, and forces us to live in them. It is a full-time job, preparing for 1,000 emergencies that will never happen. This constant state of alert is exhausting. Your mind becomes a cartographer, drawing detailed maps of a future that is nothing but a minefield. And so you lay there, trying to navigate these imaginary dangers, your body tensing for battles that exist only in your head. The tragedy is that in obsessing over a past that is gone and a future that has not yet arrived, the actual tangible reality of the present moment is completely overlooked, lost in the noise. This entire process is fueled by one of the mind's most powerful and misunderstood functions, its role as a storyteller. Your mind is not just a thinking machine, it is a narrative machine. From the moment you wake, it begins to spin a story, and the main character of that story is you. The problem is, this narrator has a strong negativity bias. For our ancient ancestors, this was a brilliant survival tool. The one who spent all day admiring the beautiful flowers was more likely to be eaten by the tiger hiding in the bushes than the one who spent all day worrying about where the next tiger might be. We are the descendants of the warriors. Our brains are hardwired to scan for threats, to focus on what's wrong, and to remember failures more vividly than successes. At night, with no real tigers to worry about, our storyteller creates them. It weaves our ruminations and anxieties into a gripping tragedy or a terrifying thriller, and we are so captivated by the plot that we forget it's a work of fiction. We mistake the story for reality. We believe that we are the anxious, flawed protagonist of this mental movie, when in fact, we are the screen upon which the movie is being projected, vast, silent, and unchanged by the drama unfolding upon it. This mental drama has very real, very physical consequences. Your body does not know the difference between a real tiger and a vividly imagined one. When your mind spins a tale of future disaster or past humiliation, a small almond-shaped region in your brain called the amygdala sounds the alarm. It believes the threat is real and triggers the fight or flight response. Your adrenal glands flood your system with cortisol, the stress hormone, and adrenaline. Your heart begins to beat faster, pumping blood to your muscles. Your breathing becomes shallow and rapid, preparing you to run or to fight. Your muscles tense. Your digestion slows down. Your body is now in a state of high alert, primed for survival. Now, ask yourself, In this state, is it possible to sleep? It is a biological impossibility. You are asking your body to do two opposite things at once. You are asking for deep rest and surrender while your entire nervous system is screaming danger. This is why you feel that knot in your stomach, that tightness in your chest, that buzzing energy under your skin as you lie in bed. It's not your imagination. It is the physical manifestation of the stories your mind is telling. You are at war with a phantom, but your body is suffering real casualties. There is an ancient story that captures this human predicament perfectly. A man is walking through the forest when he is suddenly chased by a ferocious tiger. He runs as fast as he can, but the tiger is gaining on him. He comes to the edge of a high cliff. Desperate, he sees a thick vine hanging down and scrambles over the edge, clinging to it for dear life. As he hangs there, suspended between the snarling tiger above and the rocky abyss below, he looks at the vine he is holding. To his horror, he sees two mice, one white and one black, at the top of the vine, steadily gnawing away at it. He understands. The tiger is the past that pursues him, the regrets and traumas he can't escape. The abyss below is the terrifying unknown future. The vine is his life, and the two mice, day and night, are relentlessly consuming his time. His situation is utterly hopeless. In that moment of complete despair, he happens to glance to the side. Growing out of the cliff face, right next to him, is a small plant with a single, ripe, wild strawberry, gleaming like a tiny red jewel. He looks up at the tiger, down at the abyss, at the mice gnawing on his lifeline. Then, with his free hand, he gently reaches out, plucks the strawberry, puts it in his mouth and savors it. It is bursting with sweetness. The story ends there. We are all that man. We hang suspended, tormented by the tiger of our past and terrified of the abyss of our future. We watch helplessly as the mice of time eat away at our lives, and we are so fixated on our predicament, so lost in the drama, that we fail to see the strawberry. The strawberry is the present moment. It is the simple, tangible reality that is always available to us, regardless of our perceived troubles. It is the feeling of the breath entering our body, the warmth of the blanket against our skin, the quiet hum of the house. This is the great malady of the restless mind. It convinces us that our happiness and peace depend on getting rid of the tiger and securing the ground below, an impossible task. And in doing so, it makes us miss the only source of true sweetness, the only place life can be found. Now that we have seen the chaos, this frantic dance between past and future, we must ask a deeper question. Where does this fundamental dissatisfaction come from? To truly heal, we cannot just sweep the floor of the mind. We must understand the very foundation of the house. We must turn to the precise diagnosis offered by the great physician of the mind, his profound insight into the very nature of our suffering. After witnessing the frantic acrobatics of the monkey mind, the endless replays of the past and the terrifying dress rehearsals for the future, it is natural to feel a sense of exhaustion, perhaps even despair. We see the chaos. We feel its effects in our tense bodies and stolen sleep. But to simply label it as stress or anxiety is like a doctor looking at a feverish patient and saying, "You are warm." It's an observation, not a diagnosis. A true diagnosis goes deeper. It doesn't just describe the symptom, it identifies the underlying condition. This is precisely where the genius of the Buddha's path begins. He approached the suffering of the human mind not as a philosopher to be debated, but as a physician to be consulted. His first great teaching, the foundation upon which all else is built, is known as the first noble truth, the truth of dukkha. The word dukkha is most often translated from its original Pali language as suffering, and immediately this creates a barrier for the modern listener. It sounds heavy, pessimistic, and bleak. It seems to suggest that life is nothing but a valley of tears, a grim and joyless affair. But this translation, while not entirely wrong, fails to capture the profound and subtle genius of the Buddha's diagnosis. Dukkha is not just the acute agony of a broken bone or a broken heart. It is far more pervasive. Imagine a beautifully crafted wooden wheel, a masterpiece of carpentry, but in its very center, the axle hole is off by a single millimeter. When the wheel is still, it looks perfect, but as soon as it begins to turn, there is a persistent, subtle, jarring vibration, a constant wobble. It never runs completely smoothly. That wobble, that subtle friction, that pervasive sense of things being not quite right, is a closer meaning of dukkha. It is the fundamental unsatisfactoriness of ordinary, unenlightened existence. It's the low-level static behind the music of life, the tiny pebble in the shoe that you can never quite shake out. It is the deep recognition that even in our best moments, there is a fragile, transient quality to our happiness that leaves us feeling vaguely insecure. To acknowledge dukkha is not to be a pessimist. It is to be a realist. It is the brave act of looking squarely at the human condition without the filters of denial or wishful thinking. To make this diagnosis even more precise, the Buddha identified 3 distinct, yet interwoven, types of dukkha. The first is the one we all know, the one that fits our translation of suffering. This is dukkha, the pain of pain. It is the obvious suffering of the body and mind. It is the searing pain of a migraine, the chronic ache of an aging back, the sharp sting of betrayal, the profound grief of losing someone you love. It's the frustration of being stuck in traffic, the anxiety during a turbulent flight, the raw anguish you feel when you lie awake at 3 a.m., your body exhausted but your mind screaming. This form of dukkha is undeniable. It is the overt, explicit pain that we spend much of our lives trying to avoid. The second type is more subtle and in many ways more profound. It is called viparinama dukkha, the suffering of change. This is the dukkha that is hidden within happiness itself. It is the anxiety that comes from knowing that all pleasant experiences are impermanent. Think of a perfect, sun-drenched vacation. The joy is real, but underneath it, often unconscious, is the quiet, ticking clock counting down to the moment you have to pack your bags and go home. The happiness of the experience is inseparable from the sadness of its eventual end. We suffer not because the experience is bad, but because it is good, and we cannot bear for it to change. This is the very heart of so much of our anxiety. We get a good job, and we immediately worry about losing it. We fall in love, and a quiet fear of that love ending or changing creeps in. We feel healthy and strong, and we dread the inevitable process of aging and sickness. We are trying to build a permanent home on the constantly shifting sands of time. Viparinama dukkha is the suffering born from our resistance to one of life's most fundamental laws, the law of impermanence. The reason we can't sleep is often because we are desperately clinging to a state of being health, security, control, that is, by its very nature, slipping through our fingers like fine sand. The third and most subtle form is sankhara dukkha. This can be called the suffering of conditioned existence. This is the background hum of unsatisfactoriness that is woven into the very fabric of our being, simply because we are complex, composite, and conditioned beings. Everything about you, your body, your feelings, your thoughts, your perceptions, your very consciousness, a sankhara, a conditioned formation. It arises due to causes and conditions, and it will cease when those causes and conditions change. There is no solid, unchanging, independent you at the core of the experience. This lack of a solid self, this groundlessness, creates a subtle, existential angst. It is the dukkha of being a temporary assembly of processes, rather than a solid, permanent entity. It's the feeling of unease that can surface in the dead of night. when the roles and identities we wear during the day fall away, and we are left with the raw questions. Who am I? What is all this for? This background vibration of instability, this Sankara dukkha, fuels the desperate search for something solid to grasp onto, a belief, an identity, a possession, and this grasping is the very engine of the monkey mind. There is a powerful story that illustrates this journey from personal agony to a profound understanding of dukkha. A young woman named Kisa Gautami lived happily with her husband and their baby son. One day, the child suddenly fell ill and died. Consumed by a grief so powerful it bordered on madness, Kisa Gautami refused to accept his death. She clutched the tiny cold body to her chest and went from house to house, begging for a medicine that could restore her son's life. Some people mocked her, others pitied her, but no one could help. Finally, a wise man saw her desperate state and offered her a compassionate suggestion. He told her, "There is only one person who can make such a medicine, the Buddha. Go to him." Kisa Gautami rushed to find the Buddha and begged him to bring her son back. The Buddha looked at her with immense compassion and said, "I can help you, but first, you must bring me a single mustard seed. However, it must be taken from a house where no one has ever lost a child, a spouse, a parent, or a friend." Filled with a surge of hope, Kisa Gautami began her quest once more. She went to the first house, her dead child still in her arms. "The Buddha has sent me for a mustard seed to make medicine for my son. Can you give me one?" she asked. "Of course," the woman of the house said. But as she went to get it, Kisa Gautami remembered the condition. "Wait," she said. "Has anyone in this house ever died?" The woman's face fell. "Oh lady," she replied, "the living are few, but the dead are many. We lost our father just last year." With a heavy heart, Kisa Gautami went to the next house and the next and the next. The story was the same everywhere. Every family had a story of loss. One had lost a sister, another a husband, another a beloved grandmother. As the day wore on, and she went from door to door, a profound transformation began to take place. Her own sharp, personal grief began to dissolve into a vast, ocean-like understanding of a universal truth. Her sorrow was not unique. This experience of loss, this pain, was the shared inheritance of all humanity. She saw her own grief reflected in the eyes of every person she met. She realized she could not find a single house untouched by death. With this realization, the frantic grasping in her heart began to soften. She took the body of her son to the cremation ground, held him one last time, and let him go. She had not found the medicine she was looking for, but she had found something far more valuable. She had found the truth. She had understood dukkha, not as a concept, but as the fundamental nature of existence. She had accepted the diagnosis. Accepting the diagnosis of dukkha is not an act of surrender to misery. It is the first, essential step toward liberation. It is the moment of clarity, when you finally stop fighting a nameless, shapeless enemy and see it for what it is. You give it a name. You understand its nature. By doing so, you take away its power to terrorize you from the shadows. The sleepless nights, the anxious thoughts, the restless mind, these are not personal failings. They are symptoms of a universal condition. Seeing this allows you to stop blaming yourself and to begin approaching your own mind with the same compassion the Buddha showed to Kisa Gautami. This diagnosis is not a life sentence. In the medical model of the Four Noble Truths, a clear diagnosis is the doorway to hope, because it naturally leads to the next vital question: what is causing this condition? If dukkha is the disease, then what is the pathogen that gives it life? The Buddha's penetrating insight did not stop at identifying the symptom. His true genius lay in discovering its source. If the diagnosis of dukkha, that pervasive sense of underlying unsatisfactoriness, is the first noble truth. Then the second noble truth is the Buddha's answer to the all-important question, why? If we are feverish with anxiety and restlessness, what is the pathogen causing the fever? The physician of the mind did not point to external causes. He did not blame the gods, or fate, or the state of the world. Instead, he pointed directly inward to a powerful, primal force within the heart of every unenlightened being. He gave it the name tanha. The word tanha translates literally as thirst. This is a far more accurate and potent image than the more common desire or craving. Desire can sound casual, like wanting an ice cream on a hot day, but thirst is elemental. It is a deep, driving, urgent force. When you are truly thirsty, it consumes your entire awareness. It is a state of lack, a burning need that demands to be satisfied. This, the Buddha said, is the root cause of our suffering. It is this insatiable thirst that fuels the frantic monkey mind and keeps us chained to the wheel of dissatisfaction. This thirst is the engine of the storm. It operates in a simple, relentless cycle. When we encounter a pleasant sensation, a pleasant thought, or a pleasant feeling, this thirst arises as the urgent pull to hold onto it, to prolong it, to repeat it. When we encounter a painful sensation, a painful thought, or a painful feeling, the thirst manifests as a powerful aversion, the urgent push to get rid of it, to destroy it, to make it cease. And in those neutral moments, when nothing particularly pleasant or painful is happening, the thirst arises as a subtle boredom, a restlessness that seeks stimulation and engagement. Tanha is the very gap between reality as it is and reality as we want it to be. Our dukkha, our stress, our anxiety is the friction, the fire, generated by all our mental energy being poured into that gap. To understand this thirst more clearly, the Buddha broke it down into three distinct types, three flavors of craving that operate constantly within us. The first, and most obvious, is kama tanha, the thirst for sense pleasures. This is the craving for our five senses and the mind to be pleasured. It is the thirst for delicious food, for beautiful sights, for captivating music, for pleasant smells, for comforting physical sensations. It is the craving for praise, for entertainment, for sexual gratification, for the thrill of a new purchase. On the surface, this seems natural. What could be wrong with enjoying the pleasant things life has to offer? The Buddha's insight was that the enjoyment itself is not the problem. The problem is the thirst. It is the addictive dependency on these external stimuli for our sense of well-being. This thirst creates a fragile happiness. If we don't get what we crave, we suffer from frustration and longing. If we do get what we crave, the pleasure is fleeting, and we soon begin to worry about losing it, or we simply become bored and begin craving the next thing. This is viparinama dukkha, the suffering of change, in action. Our lives become a frantic, endless chase for the next pleasant hit, a hamster wheel of stimulation that never leads to lasting peace. The second type of thirst is deeper and more subtle. It is bhavatana, the thirst to be, or the thirst for becoming. This is not just a craving for a fleeting pleasure, but a craving for existence itself. It is the deep, powerful drive to establish, solidify, and perpetuate a sense of self, an identity. It is the engine of the ego. This thirst fuels our ambition, our desire for fame, wealth, and power, not just for the pleasant feelings they bring, but because they seem to make our I more solid, more real, more permanent. Bhavatanha is the architect of our future-oriented anxiety. As you lie awake in bed, your mind racing, what is it doing? It is often consumed by this thirst for becoming. It is craving to become the person who has solved all their problems, It is craving to become the person who is successful, respected, and secure. It is craving for a future version of reality where you are finally safe and in control. This thirst creates immense suffering because the idealized self we crave to become is always in the future, while our present reality always seems lacking in comparison. We are constantly straining towards a horizon that recedes as we approach it, forever dissatisfied with who and where we are right now. The third type of thirst is the shadow of the second. It is vibhava-tanha, the thirst for non-existence, or the thirst for annihilation. If bhava-tanha is the desperate pull towards something, vibhava-tanha is the violent push away from something. It is the intense craving for a painful feeling, an unpleasant situation, a difficult person, or a shameful memory to simply cease to exist. This is the root of anger, hatred, jealousy, and aversion. We are not just displeased. We are consumed with a thirst for the object of our displeasure to be annihilated. This connects directly to the torment of rumination. When your mind is stuck replaying a past mistake, a moment of embarrassment or failure, what is the driving energy? It is vibhava-tanha. You are possessed by an agonizing thirst for that event to have never happened. You are trying to mentally annihilate a piece of your own history. You crave the non-existence of your own shame. The suffering here is immense and obvious because reality cannot be edited. The past cannot be erased. The painful feeling that is here right now cannot be instantly vaporized, no matter how much we wish it would. This thirst for annihilation is a declaration of war on reality, a war we are guaranteed to lose every single time. To understand the self-defeating nature of tanha, imagine a man adrift on a raft in the middle of the ocean, dying of thirst. He is surrounded by water, an endless expanse of it. In his desperation, he cups his hands, scoops up the water, and drinks it greedily. But it is salt water. For a fleeting moment, the coolness soothes his dry throat, but almost immediately, the salt makes his internal thirst 100 times more intense. The more he drinks, the more he dehydrates, the more he craves, driving him toward madness and death. This is a perfect metaphor for tanha. Every time we indulge a craving, we are drinking salt water. Giving in to our anger may provide a momentary release of energy, but it strengthens the underlying habit of anger. Distracting ourselves with mindless entertainment to escape boredom only makes the baseline state of boredom more intolerable. Each satisfaction of thirst only deepens the root of thirst itself. It is a cycle that promises relief, but delivers only deeper bondage. Another powerful image is that of a moth and a candle flame. In the darkness of the night, the moth sees the flame. It is brilliant, it is warm, it is mesmerizingly beautiful. It seems to promise everything the moth could ever want: light, warmth, and life. Driven by an irresistible, instinctual powerful tanha for that pleasant light, the moth flies towards it. It does not fly towards the flame because it is stupid or because it has a death wish. It flies towards the flame because it is utterly captivated by the promise of pleasure and escape from the darkness. It cannot see that the very source of its desire will also be the source of its destruction. In its blind pursuit, it touches the fire and is instantly consumed. We are that moth. We are drawn hypnotically to the flickering flames of our cravings, the promise of relief from pain, the promise of lasting pleasure, the promise of a solid and secure self. We are so focused on the beauty of the flame that we don't realize that our very attachment to it, our thirst for it, is what leads us directly into the fire of dukkha. Recognizing tanha as the source of our suffering is a revolutionary moment. It means that the cause of our sleepless nights and anxious days is not our boss, our finances, our past, or our future. The ultimate cause is internal. It is this conditioned, reactive pattern of thirsting, grasping, and pushing away. This is not a cause for blame, but a cause for incredible hope. If the source of the problem is internal, it means the solution is also internal. We can stop the hopeless task of trying to rearrange the entire world to suit our desires, and instead, we can turn our attention to the one place where we have true agency, our own hearts and minds. We can learn to observe this thirst without being consumed by it. But first, we must understand how this thirst operates. How does a fleeting desire solidify into a powerful, imprisoning habit? The thirst is the spark that ignites the fire. But there is another mental process that continuously adds the fuel. This is the process of clinging, of grasping, known in the Buddha's teaching as upadana. We have traced the source of our inner storm to the burning thirst of tanha, the relentless craving for things to be different than they are. We see how this thirst for pleasure, for existence, and for non-existence creates a constant, agitating friction in our minds. But a thirst alone, a fleeting desire, does not have the power to imprison us night after night. For a desire to become a chain, for a thirst to become a poison, another mental process must occur. This process is the critical link between the spark of craving and the raging fire of suffering. The Buddha called it upadana. If tanha is the thirst, upadana is the deliberate act of drinking the salt water. If tanha is the moth's initial instinctual attraction to the flame, upadana is the committed flight into the fire. The word is often translated as clinging, grasping, or attachment, but its literal meaning is fuel. Upadana is the fuel that we add to the small spark of craving, allowing it to grow into a conflagration that consumes our peace. It is the moment when a simple, fleeting preference, "I want this," escalates into a rigid, identity-defining position. "I need this to be happy," or even, "I am the kind of person who has this." It is the mental act of taking a thought, a feeling, or a desire and weaving it into the very fabric of ourself. It is the clenching of the mental fist. A desire can come and go like a cloud in the sky, but an attachment, an upadana, is like trying to grab hold of that cloud and refusing to let it pass. The struggle, the tension, the suffering comes from this act of grasping. To understand how this fuel feeds the fire, we must distinguish it from the initial spark. Tanha is the automatic, reactive impulse. You hear a critical comment, and the thirst of aversion, vibhava tanha, arises instantly, flash of anger or hurt. Upadana is what happens next. It's when the mind grasps onto that feeling and begins to build a narrative. That person always undermines me. They have no respect. I can't believe they said that. I am a victim here. The initial flash of feeling has now become a deeply held grievance, a story of injustice that you carry with you, that you might replay for hours while lying in bed. The feeling has become fuel for the identity of the one who was wronged. Or you feel a wave of anxiety about an upcoming project. That initial feeling is tanha. Upadana is when you grasp it and build the story. I am going to fail. I am not good enough. I am an anxious person. My whole career is on the line. The clinging to these thoughts, this identification with the narrative of fear, is the fuel that keeps the anxiety burning all night long. It's the difference between a hand reaching out and a fist clenching tight. The reaching is just a movement, but the clenching is a state of tension that, if held long enough, becomes agonizing. The Buddha described 4 primary channels through which we fuel our suffering with upadana, 4 types of things our minds desperately cling to. The first is kama upadana, clinging to sense pleasures. This is the natural progression from the thirst for sense pleasures. It's not just wanting comfort, but grasping onto the idea that comfort is a non-negotiable prerequisite for peace. When trying to sleep, this manifests as clinging to a perfect sensory environment. I can only sleep if it's totally silent. I need my specific pillow. The temperature must be exactly 20 degrees. This clinging creates a fragile state. The slightest deviation from the ideal, a distant siren, a snoring partner, a draft from the window becomes not just a minor annoyance, but a major threat to our well-being, triggering a cascade of frustration and anxiety. The second channel is dithyupadana, clinging to views and opinions. This is one of the most powerful and pervasive forms of grasping. We cling to our beliefs, our ideologies, our judgments, our political affiliations, and our personal stories about how the world works. We cling to our rigid ideas of right and wrong, of good and bad. This is a primary driver of rumination. Lying awake, we replay arguments in our mind, not to understand, but to reinforce our own rightness. We are clinging to the view, I was right, and they were wrong. The original event is long past, but our suffering continues because we are desperately grasping onto our perspective. We would rather be right than be at peace. We cling to the story of how our life should have unfolded, creating immense friction against the reality of how it actually did. The third channel, Silabata Upadana, is clinging to rites and rituals. In the Buddha's time, this often meant clinging to specific religious ceremonies with the superstitious belief that performing them perfectly was the path to salvation. In our modern secular world, it manifests as a rigid attachment to rules, routines, and methods. Think of the person with a multi-step, ironclad bedtime ritual. There is nothing wrong with a relaxing routine, but clinging arises when we believe that the ritual itself has the power, rather than the state of mind it's intended to cultivate. If one step is missed, oh no, I forgot to do my 10 minutes of stretching. Panic ensues. We cling to the form, the rule, with the belief, if I follow these steps perfectly, I will get the result I want. This rigid attachment to the method becomes a source of stress itself, completely defeating the purpose of the ritual, which was to relax. The fourth channel is the deepest, the most subtle, and the root of all the others. It is Attavada Upadana, the clinging to a doctrine of a self. This is the fundamental grasping onto the idea that there is a permanent, solid, independent I at the center of our experience. This is the fuel that underpins all other fuels. When we cling to sense pleasure, it is this I who must be pleased. When we cling to views, it is this I who must be right. When we cling to rituals, it is this I who must be saved. When we lie awake at night, this is the master clinging at work. We grasp the identity. I am an insomniac. I am a worrier. I am failing at this. We take the fleeting experiences of anxiety or sleeplessness, and we fashion them into a solid, concrete identity, a self-concept that we then have to defend and manage. This clinging to a self-story is the ultimate invisible chain. It is what makes the experience feel so personal, so solid, so terrifyingly real. There is a brilliant story used to illustrate the folly of Upadana, the story of the monkey trap. In some parts of Asia, hunters have a very clever way of catching monkeys. They take a hollowed-out coconut or a gourd and drill a hole in it, just large enough for a monkey's open hand to pass through. They place a sweet nut or some rice inside the coconut and chain it to a stake in the ground. Then they wait. Soon enough, a monkey comes along. It smells the treat inside the coconut. The thirst, tanha, arises. It wants the treat. It slides its open hand through the small hole, grabs the nut, and closes its hand into a fist. Now comes the moment of truth. It tries to pull its hand out, but the closed fist, holding the prize, is too large to pass back through the hole. The monkey pulls and screeches, growing more and more frantic, but it cannot get free. The hunter can simply walk up and capture it. The monkey is not trapped by the coconut. It is not being held by the hunter. It is trapped by its own clenched fist. Its freedom is available in any instant. All it has to do is open its hand, let go of the nut, and it would be free to scamper away. But its clinging, its upadana, its attachment to the prize is so powerful that it chooses capture over letting go. We are that monkey. The nut is the object of our clinging, cherished belief, our righteous anger, our story of being an anxious person. The clenched fist is our upadana. We are trapped, not by our circumstances, but by our refusal to open our hands, by our insistence on holding on. The suffering, the tension, the feeling of being stuck is the strain of pulling against a reality that will not yield, all while refusing to simply let go. We have now journeyed into the very core of our disease. We started with the general diagnosis of dukkha, the underlying unsatisfactoriness. We located its source in tanha, the burning thirst. And now, we see the very mechanism that keeps us trapped, the fuel that sustains the fire, upadana, the relentless act of clinging. This might seem like a bleak picture, a detailed map of our own prison, but it is the opposite. To see the design of a lock is not a cause for despair. It is the first and most crucial step to finding the key. To understand the mechanism of the trap is to begin to see how it can be disarmed. This deep, analytical journey into the problem is now complete. But the path of the Buddha does not abandon us here. This clear seeing is the necessary preparation for the practice, the foundation for the cure. It is now time to turn from the what and the why of our suffering to the how of our liberation. How do we learn to gently open that clenched fist? How do we begin to loosen these invisible chains? The first gate on this path of freedom is the cultivation of a quality of mind that is both profoundly simple and radically transformative. It is the quality of sati, the clear and gentle light of mindfulness. We have now journeyed through the dark and complex landscape of our own suffering. We have stood before the diagnosis of dukkha, the fundamental unease of our existence. We have identified its source in tanha, the insatiable thirst for things to be other than they are. And we have seen the very mechanism of our imprisonment in upadana, the clenched fist of clinging that refuses to let go. It is easy, at this point, to feel a sense of heaviness, to see only the intricate architecture of the trap. But the entire purpose of mapping this prison, of examining the lock and chain so meticulously, is to reveal a profound and liberating truth. The prison door has been unlocked the entire time. The chains are not made of steel but of illusion, and the light that illuminates the open door, the key that dissolves the chains, is a fundamental capacity of the human mind. The Buddha gave it the name sati. Sati is the Pali word most often translated as mindfulness. In recent years, this word has become so common that its true depth is often diluted. We speak of mindful eating, mindful business, mindful parenting. But sati is not a lifestyle trend or a wellness hack. It is the very heart of the path to freedom. It is a quality of awareness that is both profoundly simple and radically transformative. At its core, mindfulness is the practice of paying attention, on purpose, in the present moment, without judgment. It is the clear and gentle awareness of what is happening right as it's happening. It is not some mystical state that is difficult to achieve. It is a natural human capacity, a faculty of mind that we all possess, but one that has become weak and neglected, like a muscle we have forgotten how to use. Mindfulness is the act of remembering. It is a homecoming to the present reality of your own life. To truly understand what mindfulness is, it is essential to understand what it is not. Mindfulness is not about stopping your thoughts or trying to empty your mind. This is perhaps the most common and discouraging misconception. The mind's nature is to think, just as the heart's nature is to beat. Trying to force your mind to be silent is like trying to flatten the waves of the ocean with an iron. It is a frustrating and impossible task that creates more tension than it resolves. The goal of mindfulness is not to get rid of the monkey mind, but to untie yourself from its leash. You are not trying to silence the monkey, you are simply learning to sit still and observe its antics without being dragged from branch to branch. Mindfulness is also not necessarily a state of blissful calm or relaxation, although these are often beautiful byproducts of the practice. You can be mindful of intense anger, profound sadness, or searing anxiety. The mindfulness is in the quality of the awareness, itself clear, steady, and accepting, not in the pleasantness of the object being observed. It is the steady courage to be with your experience exactly as it is, without needing it to be different. The true power of mindfulness lies in its ability to create a space, a sacred pause, between a stimulus and your reaction to it. In our ordinary, mindless state, this space does not exist. The process is instantaneous and automatic. A stimulus occurs, a critical email lands in your inbox, someone cuts you off in traffic, a fearful thought about the future arises, and a habitual reaction is triggered instantly. We send a passive-aggressive reply. We lean on the horn and feel a surge of rage. We spiral into a vortex of anxiety. We are like puppets, and our thoughts, feelings, and external events are pulling the strings. Mindfulness inserts a moment of clear seeing into this process. Stimulus, pause, response. In that pause, everything changes. The critical email arrives. Before the fingers can type a reactive reply, mindfulness allows you to notice. There is a feeling of anger arising. There is a tightness in my chest. There are thoughts of defensiveness. You see the internal reaction for what it is, a flurry of temporary sensations and thoughts. You are no longer fused with it. You are the observer of it. And in that space of observation, you find freedom. You can choose to breathe. You can choose to wait. You can choose to respond wisely and constructively, rather than from a place of blind reaction. The great psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl summarized this perfectly. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response, one lies our growth and our freedom. Mindfulness, too, is the practice of inhabiting that sacred space. A beautiful and ancient metaphor for mindfulness is that of a wise and diligent gatekeeper standing at the main gate of a great city. The city is your mind. The visitors arriving at the gate are your thoughts, feelings, memories, and sensations. The gatekeeper's job is not to be a violent guard, trying to fight off bad visitors and only letting in the good ones. Such a guard would be exhausted in minutes, and the city would be in a constant state of battle. Instead, this gatekeeper is calm, alert, and impartial. Their job is simply to know, without judgment, everyone who passes through the gate. A merchant carrying fine silks arrives. The gatekeeper notes, a merchant. A dirty, ragged beggar comes next. The gatekeeper notes, a beggar. Then a proud soldier, a weeping child, a fearsome-looking warrior, a joyful musician. To each, the response is the same, a simple, clear, non-judgmental recognition. A soldier. A child. Joy. Fear. The gatekeeper does not get carried away with the musician's song, nor run in terror from the warrior. By simply being aware of who is entering the city of the mind, the gatekeeper prevents them from sneaking in unnoticed and causing chaos within the city walls. This is precisely the function of mindfulness. It stands at the gateway of your awareness and simply notes what arises. There is anxiety. There is a memory from childhood. There is the sound of a bird. There is a feeling of peace. This act of simple, knowing awareness is profoundly powerful. It strips the thoughts and feelings of their ability to impersonate you, to take over the entire house. They are seen for what they are, temporary visitors passing through. It is vital to remember that this quality of mind, this calm and steady gatekeeper, is not a talent you are either born with or not. It is a skill. It is a muscle that can be trained. When you first go to a gym, you cannot lift the heaviest weights. Your muscles are weak and the movements feel awkward. You might only manage a few repetitions before you feel tired. It is the same with mindfulness. When you first try to practice, you will find your mind wanders constantly. It will be carried away by thought after thought. This is not a sign of failure. It is simply the starting point, the baseline strength of your mindfulness muscle. The training itself is beautifully simple. Each time you notice that your mind has wandered away from your point of focus, and you gently, kindly, without scolding yourself, guide it back, that is one repetition. That is the moment the muscle gets stronger. The point is not to have a perfectly still mind that never wanders. The practice is the wandering and the returning. It is the patient, compassionate act of coming back again and again and again to the present moment. So, this is the beginning of the cure. This is the light that we begin to shine into the darkness of our habitual reactions. Mindfulness, or sati, is the direct antidote to the mindless chain of events that leads from thirst to clinging to suffering. It is the capacity that allows us to see the clenched fist of upadana and to realize that we have the power to gently open it. But this concept of awareness can still feel vast and amorphous. Where do we place our attention? How do we begin this training in a concrete way? The wise gatekeeper cannot watch the entire city at once. They need a post to stand at, a single vantage point from which to observe the endless flow of traffic. The Buddha, in his immense practical wisdom, gave us the perfect observation post. He gave us an anchor for our awareness that is always with us, always in the present moment, as intimate and as vital as life itself. He taught us that the gateway to mindfulness, the primary object of our attention, should be the one thing we so often take for granted, our own breath. We have arrived at the doorway of liberation. We have been given the key, this beautiful and powerful quality of mind called sati, or mindfulness. We understand that it is a clear, non-judgmental awareness, a way of seeing our own experience without being entangled in it. But a key needs a lock, and a light needs something to shine upon. Where do we direct this powerful beam of awareness? On what ground do we stand to find our footing amidst the chaos of the mind? The Buddha's answer to this question is radical in its simplicity and profound in its implications. The only ground there is, the only place to practice, the only true refuge from the storms of the mind is the present moment. Our minds, by habit, are time-traveling machines. They spend almost none of their time in the present. Instead, they live in two phantom worlds, two realms of illusion that are the source of all our anxiety and regret. The first phantom world is the past. The past is a museum of memory. It is a collection of dusty exhibits, photographs, and artifacts from a life that has already been lived. We can visit this museum. We can look at the displays, but we cannot live there. We cannot change the exhibits, rearrange the furniture, or alter the outcomes. Yet, this is what our minds try to do for hours on end, especially in the dead of night. We wander the halls of this museum, polishing our regrets, reliving our embarrassments, arguing with ghosts who cannot hear us. We suffer not from the events of the past themselves, but from the act of mentally reanimating them in the present. The past has no power to harm you. It has no substance, no life, outside of the energy your own thoughts give to it. Your suffering over a past mistake is like being tormented by a photograph of a tiger. The tiger is gone. All that remains is a fading image, yet we give it the power to terrorize us as if it were still here, snarling in the room with us. The second phantom world, and the mind's favorite destination for sleepless nights, is the future. The future is a land of pure fantasy. It does not exist. It is a vast, empty canvas upon which our minds project an endless series of paintings. When we are anxious, these paintings are almost exclusively horror films and disaster movies. We spend our precious energy and peace of mind authoring, directing, and starring in elaborate productions about events that have not happened and will likely never happen. We rehearse arguments that will never take place. We troubleshoot catastrophes that exist only in our imagination. We feel the visceral, physical stress of 100 possible failures, none of which are real. We are living in a state of constant preparation for a fantasy. This is the very essence of anxiety. It is the suffering caused by our attachment to a future that we are trying desperately to control, a future that is, by its very nature, uncontrollable and unreal. The present moment is the only antidote to these two phantom worlds. The present moment is the only reality. Life is not happening in the past. Life is not happening in the future. Life is happening right now. In this single, indivisible instant, the feeling of this breath entering your body, the gentle pressure of your head on the pillow, the distant sound of a car passing by, this is reality. This is the only point of contact you will ever have with life. The great illusion is that life is a long narrative, a timeline stretching from birth to death. The reality is that life is just a series of nows, strung together like pearls on a thread. The past was once a now. The future will, if it arrives, arrive as a now. All you ever have, all you have ever had, all you will ever have, is this present moment. This recognition is not just a philosophical concept. It is the key to our refuge. Why? Because the time-traveling mind, the monkey mind fueled by craving and clinging, cannot operate in the present moment. The mind needs the fuel of the past regret, resentment. Guilt are the fuel of the future fear, worry, planning to sustain its storm. When you bring your full, undivided attention into the raw, sensory reality of the here and now, you cut off the mind's fuel supply. When you are completely absorbed in the feeling of warm water on your hands, your mind cannot simultaneously be worrying about a meeting next week. When you are fully present with the taste of a piece of fruit, you cannot at the same time be ruminating over an argument from yesterday. The present moment is the mind's kryptonite. It starves the storylines of anxiety and regret of the one thing they need to survive: your attention. But what if the present moment is unpleasant? What if it contains physical pain or a difficult emotion like grief or anger? This is a crucial question. The practice of mindfulness does not ask you to pretend that the present moment is always blissful. It asks you to meet the present moment as it is. And the profound discovery we make is that the raw, direct experience of the present moment is almost always bearable. A sensation of pain is just that, a sensation. It has a location, a temperature, a quality of vibration or pressure. What makes it unbearable is the second layer of suffering we add on top of it, the story our mind tells about it. This pain is terrible. It's never going to end. I can't stand this. These are thoughts about the future, or this shouldn't be happening to me. What did I do to deserve this? These are thoughts based on a comparison to an imagined past where we were pain-free. When we drop these stories and bring a curious, mindful awareness to the raw sensation of the present, we find that we have far more capacity to be with discomfort than we ever imagined. The present moment, even when difficult, is our only safe harbor, because it is the only place free from the terrifying ghosts of our own imagination. The great Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh taught this principle with beautiful simplicity through the act of washing the dishes. He was once asked by a student how to practice Zen in daily life outside the meditation hall. He replied by talking about his time as a young monk, when his job was to wash the dishes after the meal. He explained that one day he realized he was washing the dishes in a hurry, trying to get them done so that he could go and enjoy a cup of tea and some dessert with his fellow monks afterward. And in that moment, a realization struck him. He was not really alive while he was washing the dishes. His body was at the sink, but his mind was in the future with the cup of tea. He was sacrificing the present moment for a future that had not yet arrived. From that day on, he made a vow. He said, "When I am washing the dishes, I will just wash the dishes." This meant he would be fully present with the act. He would feel the warmth of the water on his hands. He would see the iridescent soap bubbles. He would be aware of the clink of the plates. He would be conscious of his own breathing as he stood at the sink. The purpose of washing the dishes was no longer just to get clean dishes. The purpose of washing the dishes was to be fully alive while washing the dishes. The tea could wait. This is the practice of dwelling in the present moment. It is the art of transforming every mundane activity into an opportunity to come home to yourself, to come home to reality. When you are walking, just walk. Feel the soles of your feet connecting with the ground. When you are eating, just eat. Taste each bite. When you are listening to someone, just listen. Give them the full gift of your undivided attention, free from the mental chatter of what you are going to say next. This is not about adding more tasks to your life. It is about inhabiting the life you already have. So this is our sanctuary. This is the only ground that will not crumble beneath our feet. Our freedom from the crushing weight of past and future is not found by building a better future or by somehow erasing the past. It is found by dropping our baggage and stepping fully into the space that is always here, always waiting for us with open arms. The present moment is not something we need to achieve. We are already in it. We just need to wake up to it. The great journey is not about going somewhere else, but about arriving fully where we already are. Now we know our destination, the where, and we know the attitude to bring, the what sati, but how, in a practical sense, do we anchor ourselves here, especially when the winds of the mind are blowing hard? We need a specific tool, a reliable, portable, and ever-present anchor to tether our wandering awareness to the firm ground of the here and now. The Buddha, with his unparalleled understanding of the human experience, pointed us toward the most intimate and vital anchor we could ever possess. He pointed us toward the rhythm of life itself. We have arrived at the very heart of the practice. We have seen that our only true refuge is the present moment, and the quality of mind we must bring to it is sati, or mindfulness. But this knowledge can feel abstract when we are caught in a mental whirlwind. We need more than a destination. We need a path. We need more than a refuge. We need an anchor. In the midst of a storm, a sailor does not try to calm the entire ocean. They drop a heavy anchor to hold the ship steady against the wind and waves. The Buddha, with his profound understanding of the human mind, gave us the perfect anchor, a tool of such elegance, simplicity, and power that it has served as the foundation of meditative practice for over 2.5 millennia. This anchor is not something you must acquire, for you already possess it. It is your own breath. The practice of using this anchor is called anapanasati, which simply means mindfulness of breathing. Why the breath? Why did this great physician of the mind choose this simple, rhythmic process as the primary tool for healing our deepest anxieties? Because the breath is the perfect object for our attention. Firstly, it is always with us. From the moment we are born to the moment we die, the breath is our constant, faithful companion. It is utterly reliable. You do not need to search for it, purchase it, or believe in it. It is here. Whether you are in a quiet room, a crowded office, on a bus, or lying awake at 4 in the morning, the breath is available as a potential anchor. It is the most portable and accessible tool for mindfulness imaginable. Secondly, and most critically, the breath is always in the present moment. You cannot take a breath that is in the past. You cannot inhale a breath that is in the future. Each and every breath occurs only in the immediate, tangible reality of the now. Therefore, to be consciously aware of your breathing is, by definition, to be in the present moment. It effortlessly pulls your time-traveling mind out of the phantom worlds of yesterday's regrets and tomorrow's fears and grounds it firmly in the only reality that exists. Furthermore, the breath serves as the ultimate bridge between our mind and our body. It is a unique process in that it operates on both a conscious and an unconscious level. Most of the time, your autonomic nervous system takes care of breathing for you. But you can, at any moment, decide to consciously alter its rhythm. This dual nature makes it an incredibly sensitive barometer of our inner state. The breath is a perfect, honest mirror of the mind. Think about it. When you are anxious or frightened, how is your breath? It is likely to be short, shallow, rapid, and located high in the chest. When you are angry, it might be forceful, hot, and constricted. And when you are calm and relaxed, how is your breath? It is most likely slow, deep, quiet, and originating from the diaphragm. Your breath does not lie. It tells the truth of your emotional and mental state in real time. By learning to pay attention to the breath, we are not just finding an anchor. We are gaining access to a profound biofeedback system that teaches us about our own inner workings. This leads to a crucial point about the practice of anapanasati. The goal is not to control the breath. This is a common misunderstanding that causes a great deal of tension for beginners. We are not trying to force the breath to be deep or slow or spiritual. The instruction is far more subtle and gentle. It is simply to observe the breath exactly as it is. We are to become a curious, impartial witness to the process of breathing. Imagine you are a scientist who has just discovered a new, fascinating phenomenon. You would not try to interfere with it. You would simply watch it with keen, open attention to understand its nature. We approach our own breath with this same quality of curious, non-judgmental observation. The magic of the practice lies in this gentle acceptance. Ironically, when the breath is observed in this kind, accepting way, without any agenda to change it, it often begins to calm down and deepen all on its own. It is a result of the awareness, not an act of will. Peace comes through surrender, not through control. There is a classic teaching story that beautifully illustrates this process of taming the mind with the breath. Imagine our mind in its ordinary, untrained state is like a powerful, wild buffalo. It is full of raw, untamed energy, accustomed to roaming freely through the vast jungles of thought, memory, and fantasy. A farmer wishes to tame this buffalo. He knows he cannot overpower it by force. So, he uses a wise strategy. He has a very strong rope, which represents sati, or mindfulness, and he has a sturdy wooden stake, which he drives deep into the earth. This stake represents the breath, our anchor in anapanasati. The farmer finds the buffalo and ties one end of the rope around its neck and the other end to the stake. What happens next? The buffalo is furious. It has never been restrained before. It pulls and thrashes, straining with all its might to run back to the familiar jungle of its habits, the territory of rumination and anxiety. It bellows and kicks up dust, fighting against the rope with immense force. This is exactly what it feels like when we first try to meditate. The mind seems to go wild. It feels even more chaotic and restless than before because for the first time we are feeling its resistance. But the farmer is patient. He knows the rope is strong and the stake is firm. After hours or perhaps days of struggling, the buffalo grows tired. It realizes that fighting the rope is painful and futile. It understands that it cannot escape the radius of the rope. And so, it begins to calm down. It might start to graze on the grass in the circle around the stake. Eventually, exhausted but no longer fighting, it lies down next to the stake. It discovers to its surprise that the area around the stake is a place of safety and rest. It no longer sees the stake as a prison, but as its home. Our mind is this buffalo. Our practice is to gently but firmly tie it to the stake of the breath, using the rope of mindfulness. At first, the mind will fight. It will wander 1,000 times, pulling toward a worry or a memory. Our job is not to scold the buffalo or to pull violently on the rope. Our job is simply to notice that it has wandered and gently, patiently guide it back to the stake. Again and again and again. Each time we do this, the habit of returning grows stronger and the habit of wandering grows weaker. Over time, the mind learns that the present moment, anchored by the breath, is not a place of restriction, but a place of profound peace and security. It learns to rest. This, then, is our core practice. It is not a breathing exercise. It is an awareness exercise. It is the tangible, practical method for grounding ourselves in the here and now, for starving the monkey mind of its fuel, and for creating a space of clarity and calm within ourselves. We now have our anchor. We have our rope. We have our intention. The time for theory is drawing to a close, and the time for direct personal experience is about to begin. Let us now prepare to take the first gentle step in this ancient and life-changing practice. Let us learn, perhaps for the first time in our lives, to simply meet our own breath, without agenda, without judgment, and with the simple, open curiosity of a dear friend. And so, we arrive. We move now from the realm of theory and understanding to the world of direct, personal experience. The journey we have taken through the landscape of the mind-seeing, its habits of craving and clinging, has all been in preparation for this moment. A moment of practice, a moment of homecoming. This is not a test. It is not a performance. There is no goal to achieve, no state to attain. There is only the gentle, simple intention to be present with ourselves, just as we are. Let us begin. First, find a posture that embodies both dignity and ease. The images we see of meditators often involve complex postures, but these are not necessary. The most important thing is that you are comfortable and alert. If you are sitting on a chair, allow your feet to rest flat on the floor, a quiet statement of your connection to the earth. Let your back be straight but not rigid, allowing your spine to rise naturally, as if a gentle string were pulling the crown of your head toward the sky. If you are sitting on a cushion on the floor, find a position that allows your knees to rest comfortably below your hips. Allow your shoulders to soften and fall away from your ears, releasing the tension we so often carry there. Let your hands rest easily in your lap or on your knees, with the palms facing up or down, whichever feels more natural. Let your jaw be unclenched, your tongue soft in your mouth. This is a posture that is both awake and relaxed, a body that is ready to be still. Now, when you are ready, gently allow your eyes to close, or, if you prefer, you can leave them slightly open, with a soft, unfocused gaze directed toward the floor a few feet in front of you. Closing the eyes is simply an invitation to turn the full force of your attention away from the external world and toward your own inner landscape. Now, with your body settled, bring your awareness to the reason we are here, your breath. Do not try to change it. Do not try to control it. Do not judge it as too shallow or too deep. For these first few moments, simply let it be. Your only task is to notice it, to feel it. Your breath has been flowing in and out of your body your entire life, a constant, faithful rhythm in the background. Now, we are simply bringing it into the foreground. We are shining the gentle light of our attention upon it. You may feel the sensation of the breath most clearly at the tip of your nose, a subtle coolness as the air enters, and a slight warmth as it leaves. You might feel a gentle tickling sensation in your nostrils. Or perhaps you feel the breath more distinctly in your chest, as a sense of expansion and contraction, a gentle rising and falling. Or you may feel it most prominently in your abdomen, as the belly gently swells on the in-breath and softens on the out-breath. There is no right or wrong place to feel it. Simply choose one of these spots to be your home base for the attention, your observation post. Rest your awareness there, as gently as a butterfly resting on a flower. Let's explore this simple miracle. Feel the entire journey of a single in-breath. Notice the very beginning of the inhalation and follow the sensation as the air moves into your body, filling your lungs. There is a slight pause, a moment of stillness at the peak of the in-breath, and then notice the journey of the out-breath, the gentle release, the letting go, the softening of the body as the air leaves you. There is nothing to do here, nothing to achieve, just this, the simple, raw, physical sensation of breathing. To help anchor the mind, you can use a quiet mental note. As you breathe in, you can say to yourself silently, in, and as you breathe out, you can say out, in, out, or you can use a slightly longer phrase as the Buddha taught. Breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. This is not a magic chant. It is a simple tool of recognition. It is the gatekeeper at his post, simply noting what is happening. Breathing in, I am aware of my in-breath. Breathing out, I am aware of my out-breath. Just this. Rest here for a few moments, in this simple, profound awareness. Sooner or later, and it is almost always sooner, you will notice that your mind is no longer with the breath. This is not a mistake, this is not a failure, this is simply what minds do. Your attention may have been carried away by a sound, a thought about the future, a memory from the past, a sensation of itching or restlessness in the body. The moment you realize this has happened, I want you to feel a sense of quiet celebration. That moment of realizing, oh, my mind has wandered. That is the moment of mindfulness. That is the moment you have woken up. For minutes you may have been lost in a dream of thought, and now you are awake. This is the victory. This is the practice. There is a wonderful story of a young student who goes to his meditation teacher, deeply frustrated. He says, "Master, I am a terrible meditator. I sat for 20 minutes, and my mind did nothing but think. I must have had 1,000 thoughts." The master smiled warmly and replied, "Ah, wonderful. You had 1,000 opportunities to practice waking up. So, when you notice your mind has wandered, you have not failed. You have just been given another opportunity to practice." The practice itself is a simple 3-step process. First, gently and without judgment, acknowledge where the mind went. You can just make a soft mental note, thinking, or worrying, or planning, or sound. Second, you gently release the distraction. You don't push it away violently. You simply open the fist of your attention and let it go. And third, with great kindness and patience, you gently escort your attention back to your anchor, back to the physical sensation of the breath moving in and out of your body. The tone you use with yourself in this moment is everything. Imagine you are training a small, adorable puppy. You tell the puppy to sit, but its attention wanders and it runs off to chase a butterfly. You would not scream at the puppy or punish it. You would smile, call its name gently, and kindly lead it back to its spot. We must treat our own minds with this same boundless patience and compassion. So, when the mind wanders off for the 100th time, we gently acknowledge, release, and return. Again and again. This is the path. This is the training. This is the cultivation of a heart that is both strong and gentle. Let us remain here for a few more moments. Just you and your breath. In this moment, there are no problems to solve, nothing to figure out, no one you need to be. There is just the simple, humble reality of this in-breath and this out-breath, this rhythm that has sustained you your entire life. Allow yourself to rest in this simplicity. Feel the quiet that may lie just beneath the surface of the mind's chatter. And now, as we prepare to bring this formal session to a close, begin to gently broaden your awareness. Without opening your eyes, become aware of the feeling of your body sitting on the chair or the cushion. Feel the points of contact, the gentle pull of gravity. Become aware of the air on your skin. Then, slowly, expand your awareness to include sound. Notice the sounds within the room and the sounds outside the room without needing to label or identify them. Just let them be part of your field of awareness. And when you feel ready, very gently, begin to open your eyes, letting the light back in slowly. Take a moment before you move. Notice how you feel. There is no need to feel any particular way. Just notice. Remember that this practice does not end here. This anchor, this refuge, is available to you in every moment of your day. In between tasks, while waiting in line, anytime you feel stressed or overwhelmed, you can take a single, conscious breath. You can feel one in-breath and one out-breath, and for that one moment, you have come home. In this session, we have practiced the foundational skill of simply meeting the breath. We have established our anchor. In our next practice, we will begin to explore the breath more deeply, to notice its more subtle qualities and to listen to the wisdom it contains. We will begin by observing the simple and yet profound difference between a long breath and a short breath. For now, simply carry this quiet awareness with you. Welcome back to the practice, back to the quiet sanctuary of your own being. In our last session, we took the first crucial step. We learned to establish our anchor, to simply recognize the presence of the breath as it flowed in and out of the body. We found our home base. Today, we will deepen that intimacy. We will move from simply knowing that the breath is there to listening more closely to its unique voice in each passing moment. We are not going to change anything. We are simply going to refine our listening. We are going to learn the wisdom that lies in the length of our own breath. So let us begin, as always, by settling into our posture. Find your seat, whether on a cushion or a chair, and allow your body to settle into a position of quiet dignity. Let your spine be upright without being stiff, your shoulders soft, your hands resting with ease. Gently close your eyes, signaling your intention to turn your awareness inward. Take a moment to arrive. Feel the weight of your body, the points of contact with the floor and the furniture. Acknowledge the simple fact that you are here and you are safe. Before we explore this new territory, let us first return to our home base. For the next few moments, simply reacquaint yourself with the practice from our last session. Bring your attention to your chosen anchor point, the nostrils, the chest, or the abdomen, and rest it there. Re-establish the simple rhythm of knowing. Breathing in, I am aware of my in-breath. Breathing out, I am aware of my out-breath. In and out. Let your mind settle on this simple, repetitive reality. There is no need to rush. Allow yourself to become absorbed in this fundamental, life-sustaining rhythm. Give yourself this time to just be with the breath as a faithful, old friend. Now, as your attention begins to settle, we will gently add a new layer of observation. Without any effort to change or control what is happening, simply begin to notice the quality of the breath's length. Is this in-breath a long one or a short one? Is this out-breath deep and extended, or is it quick and shallow? The breath is like music, and its tempo changes constantly depending on the needs of the body and the state of the mind. Our task is not to be the composer, trying to force a certain rhythm. Our task is to be the audience, listening with rapt attention to the music as it naturally unfolds. When you notice that you are breathing in a long, deep breath, make a quiet mental note. The instruction from the Anapanasati Sutta is beautifully simple. Breathing in a long breath, he knows. I am breathing in a long breath. Breathing out a long breath, he knows. I am breathing out a long breath. 1. So in your own mind, you can simply note long in, breath, or long out, breath. Similarly, when the breath is naturally short, you simply recognize it. Breathing in a short breath, he knows. I am breathing in a short breath. You can note short in breath. The breath may be long for a few cycles, and then short for a few. It may be somewhere in between. It doesn't matter. The practice is not about achieving long breaths. The practice is in the knowing. The clarity of that recognition is where the magic lies. It is absolutely crucial to understand this distinction. Your job is not to be a breath controller. It is to be a breath knower. If you notice your breath is short and you think, oh, my breath is short, it's supposed to be long for meditation. I need to make it longer. You have just created tension. You've just created a subtle form of dukkha, a friction between how things are and how you think they should be. The moment you try to force or manipulate the breath, you have left the path of mindfulness and stepped onto the path of striving. The instruction is far more gentle. If you notice your breath is short, the practice is simply to know, this is a short breath. That's it. You have fulfilled the instruction perfectly. You are observing reality as it is, without judgment and without interference. This is the essence of wisdom and peace. Trust in the power of this bare, non-judgmental awareness. As you rest with this practice, you will begin to discover the profound connection between the breath's length and your mental state. The breath is the mind made visible. A short, shallow, constricted breath is often the physical signature of a mind that is caught in anxiety, fear, or stress. It is the breath of fight or flight. A long, slow, deep, and quiet breath is the signature of a mind that is calm, centered, and at ease. It is the breath of rest and digest. By paying attention to the length of the breath, you are gaining direct insight into the state of your own nervous system. And here is where a quiet miracle often occurs. When you bring a kind, patient, and non-judgmental awareness to a short and anxious breath, you are doing something profound. You are meeting your own anxiety with peace. You are holding your own tension with softness. The very act of observing a short breath with this quality of gentle acceptance sends a powerful signal of safety back to your brain. And very often, without any conscious effort from you, the breath will begin to calm down. It will begin to lengthen and deepen on its own. It is not that you fixed it. It is that you created the conditions of safety and acceptance in which it could heal itself. This is a life-changing lesson. True transformation comes not from forceful self-improvement, but from radical self-acceptance. Think of a world-class athlete, perhaps an Olympic archer standing ready to shoot, or a brilliant concert pianist sitting at the piano before a silent, expectant audience. In these moments of immense pressure, what is their breath doing? They are not panting with short, frantic, shallow breaths. If they did, their hands would shake. Their focus would shatter. They have trained themselves, consciously or unconsciously, to use the breath as an anchor. They take long, slow, deliberate breaths to calm their nervous system, to steady their hands, and to bring their minds to a state of focused, relaxed attention. We are not so different. We are not training for a concert or a competition. We are training for life itself. We are learning to use this same incredible tool to navigate the pressures of our own daily existence or difficult conversations, our stressful deadlines, our sleepless nights. We are learning to find our own inner state of calm resilience So let us continue the practice for a few more moments, simply resting your attention on the flow of the breath and gently noting its length. Long in-breath, long out-breath, short in-breath, short out-breath. And if the mind wanders away, as it surely will, remember the puppy. Gently, kindly, and with a smile, you acknowledge the wandering and you guide your attention back home, back to this breath. Now, for the final few moments of our session, let go of the labels. Let go of the categories of long and short. Let your mind become very simple again. Return to the practice of just feeling the entire undivided journey of each breath, from the very beginning of the in-breath, through the middle, to the very end, from the very beginning of the out-breath, to its complete conclusion. Simply rest in the pure, wordless, sensory experience of breathing, and now, slowly begin to let the focus on the breath soften. Widen the lens of your awareness to include the feeling of your whole body sitting here. Become aware of the space around you, the temperature of the air. Gently reacquaint yourself with the world of sound. When you feel ready, allow your eyes to gently flutter open. Take a moment. Notice the quality of your mind. There is no need to analyze it. Just feel it. We have now learned to be intimate, not only with the breath's presence, but with its changing character. We have listened to its rhythm and begun to understand its language. In our next session, we will expand our field of awareness even further. We will move from this focused attention at the tip of the nose or the abdomen to include the entire landscape in which the breath moves. We will learn to become aware of our entire body as a single, unified, breathing organism. For now, take this newfound sensitivity with you, and may it bring you moments of peace throughout your day. Welcome back. We continue our journey inward, a journey not of distance, but of depth. In our previous sessions, we learned to anchor our awareness in the simple, honest presence of the breath. We then refined that awareness, learning to listen to the subtle story told by the length of each breath. We have been like someone entering a vast, quiet house, standing first in the foyer, then listening closely to the house's quiet hum. Today, we begin to explore the entire house. We will expand our awareness from the single point of the breath to encompass the whole living, breathing landscape of the body. Let us begin by finding our posture, our seat of awareness. Settle into your chair or cushion, allowing your body to find that beautiful balance between alertness and relaxation. The spine gently erect, the shoulders soft, the hands resting with ease. Let your feet feel the support of the floor beneath you. As you feel ready, gently close your eyes, making the deliberate choice to shift your focus from the world outside to the world within. Take a few moments just to arrive. There is nowhere else to be, nothing else to do. Grant yourself this gift of stillness. Now, let us reconnect with our anchor. Before we explore the wider landscape, we must first ground ourselves in our home base. Bring your attention to the sensation of the breath at your chosen spot, the nostrils, chest, or abdomen. For a few moments, just rest here. Return to the simplest instruction, knowing the in-breath as it enters, and knowing the out-breath as it leaves. Let the mind settle into this familiar rhythm. Now gently begin to notice the breath's length without trying to change it. Simply knowing this is a long breath or this is a short breath. Let this gentle, knowing awareness be your guide as you settle more deeply into the present moment. And now, we prepare to expand our field of awareness. Imagine that your attention has been a spotlight, shining on the small circle of the breath. We are now going to change the lens, allowing that spotlight to transform into a soft, warm floodlight that gradually illuminates your entire body from the inside out. The instruction for this practice, as laid out in the ancient texts, is as follows. Breathing in, I am aware of my whole body. Breathing out, I am aware of my whole body. This is our work for today. To feel the body, not as an idea, but as a direct, living, sensory experience. Let us begin this exploration together. On your next in-breath, feel the breath entering your body, and as it does, imagine or feel its living energy gently spreading downwards from your abdomen. Feel it moving through your hips, your pelvis, filling your legs with a gentle, tingling aliveness. Follow this energy all the way down through your knees, your shins and calves, into your ankles, the soles of your feet, and right to the very tips of your toes. For a moment, your entire lower body is held in this warm, breathing awareness. Then, on the out-breath, simply feel a softening, a gentle release. On the next in-breath, let this same awareness travel upwards from your abdomen. Feel the breath's energy expanding through your torso, filling your chest, spreading across your collarbones and into your shoulders. Feel this living presence travel down your arms, through your elbows and forearms, into your wrists, your palms, and all the way to the tips of your fingers. Your entire upper torso and arms are now illuminated by this gentle floodlight of attention. On the out-breath, again, just feel the subtle letting go. Now let the awareness continue to rise. On the next in-breath, feel the energy moving up through your throat, into your neck and your jaw. Let it fill your entire head, your face, your ears, the space behind your eyes, the very crown of your head. The whole of your physical structure, from the tips of your toes to the top of your head, is now held in this unified field of awareness. Now, let go of the scanning. Let go of moving your attention up and down. Simply rest. Rest in the holistic feeling of the entire body as one single, unified field of sensation. It is not made of separate parts. It is one whole, and this whole body is breathing. Feel the entire body subtly expand with every in-breath and gently soften with every out-breath. There is no need to think about the body. Just feel it. Feel the life that is humming within it. The warmth, the coolness, the tingling, the pressure, the vibrations. It is all just life, expressing itself as sensation. Rest here, breathing in, aware of the whole body. Breathing out, aware of the whole body. What is the purpose of this practice? Why do we do this? Because in our daily lives, our mind and body are often divorced from one another. Our body is here, sitting in a chair, but our mind is 1,000 miles away, lost in the past or anxious about the future. This practice is an act of reunion. It is the sacred marriage of mind and body in the present moment. And when your mind fully and truly inhabits your body, it is anchored in reality in the most profound way. Your body can only ever be here and now. It cannot be in yesterday. It cannot be in next week. By filling your body with your awareness, you are tethering your mind to the undeniable reality of the present moment. The monkey mind cannot easily survive in a fully inhabited body. There is nowhere for it to go. There is another, deeper layer to this. As you continue to feel the body as just a field of changing sensations, the rigid idea of me and my body begins to soften. You start to see from direct experience that this body is not a solid, static thing. It is a dynamic, shimmering, ever-changing process. It is a river of sensation, not a stone statue. This insight gently loosens the deepest clinging of all, the clinging to a solid, permanent self, the Attavada Upadana, which is the root cause of so much of our tension. Think of a great musician, a violinist lost in a symphony. Her attention is not just on the fingers of her left hand pressing the strings. If it were, the music would be robotic and lifeless. Her awareness is holistic. She feels the horsehair of the bow gliding across the strings. She feels the vibration of the instrument against her collarbone and jaw. She feels the posture of her back, the grounding of her feet on the floor. She feels the sound resonating in the hall. Her mind, her her body, her instrument, and the music become one single, flowing experience. There is no separation. This is how we must learn to play the instrument of our own body. Our lives are often lived from a detached command center in our heads, treating the body like a vehicle to be steered. This practice invites us out of the command center and into the life of the vehicle itself. It is an invitation to inhabit our lives with this same holistic, feeling presence. Let us rest for these final few moments in this unified awareness. No instructions, no labels, just being this whole, living, breathing body. Feeling the simple, profound reality of being alive, right here, right now. As our time for formal practice comes to an end, slowly begin to reacquaint yourself with the world around you. Let the sounds of the room re-enter your awareness. Feel the air on your skin. Notice the light behind your closed eyelids. When you feel ready, not in a rush, gently allow your eyes to open. Sit for a moment without moving. Notice the quality of your awareness. Can you still feel the aliveness in your hands? The sense of your feet on the floor? This embodied presence is not something to be left behind on the meditation cushion. It is something to be carried with you into the moments of your day. Today, we have learned to inhabit our body, to unify mind and body in the sanctuary of the present moment. Now that we have arrived here, now that we are fully present within this physical form, we can take the next active step on our journey. We can learn to use this intimate awareness to consciously soothe and care for our body. In our next session, we will move from simply feeling the whole body to gently calming the body with each and every breath. Welcome back to your practice, to this quiet and courageous exploration of your inner world. In our journey together, we have learned to find our anchor in the breath. We have learned to listen to its rhythm, its length. And most recently, we have learned to expand our awareness to inhabit the entire, unified landscape of the body. We have learned what it means to be truly present, right here in this physical form. Today, we will take a new step, one that shifts our practice from pure observation to a gentle, loving action. Until now, we have been a kind host, simply welcoming whatever experience arises. Today, we will learn to offer our body a specific healing gift, the gift of calm. Let us begin by settling into our familiar posture of dignity and ease. Find your seat, allowing your body to express a state of relaxed alertness. The spine is long, the shoulders are soft, the hands rest gently. As you close your eyes, take a deep, conscious breath in, and as you breathe out, release the day so far. Let go of where you have been and where you need to go. Arrive completely in this moment, in this seat. Before we begin our new practice, let us first warm up the muscle of our awareness. Return to your home base, the sensation of the breath. For a few cycles, simply know the in-breath and the out-breath. Then, gently notice the quality of its length, long or short, without any need to change it. Finally, expand your awareness, allowing your attention to become a soft floodlight that illuminates your entire body, from the soles of your feet to the crown of your head. Rest for a moment in this simple, holistic awareness of the body, breathing. Until this point, our primary instruction has been to observe without interfering. Now, we will introduce a subtle but profound intention. We will learn to use the breath not just as an anchor for our awareness, but as a vehicle for healing and release. The instruction is this: breathing in, I am aware of my body. Breathing out, I calm my body. Let's repeat that in our minds. Breathing in, awareness of the body. Breathing out, calming the body. The word calming here is very important. It does not mean forcing or struggling. It means softening, releasing, letting go. It is an invitation, not a command. It is giving your body permission to release the tension it has been holding. Let us explore this together. As you breathe in, feel the wholeness of your body. And as you breathe out, imagine a wave of relaxation gently washing over you. With each out-breath, there is a subtle surrender, a letting go of just a little more tension. A beautiful alternative instruction comes from Thich Nhat Hanh. Breathing in, I smile to my body. Breathing out, I release the tension in my body. The smile is one of friendship and gratitude for this body that works so tirelessly for us. The release is the gift we give it in return. Now, let us bring this gentle, calming awareness to some of the specific areas in the body where we tend to store stress. Bring your attention to your shoulders and neck. So often, without even realizing it, we carry the weight of our responsibilities here, hunching our shoulders up toward our ears. As you breathe in, become aware of this area, and as you breathe out, consciously invite your shoulders to drop, to melt, to release their burden. Imagine the tension flowing down your back and into the earth. Let the out-breath be a deep sigh of relief for your shoulders. Now bring your awareness to your face, specifically to your jaw and the area around your eyes. These are places of immense, subtle tension. We clench our jaw in determination or frustration. We furrow our brow in worry. As you breathe in, feel these areas. And as you breathe out, allow your jaw to go slack. Let there be a little space between your top and bottom teeth. Feel the tiny muscles around your eyes soften. Smooth out the space between your eyebrows. Let your whole face become a mask of serene repose. Breathing out, I calm my face. Let's move our attention to our hands. Look at your hands in your mind's eye. Are they clenched into fists? Are the fingers tense? Often our hands reflect the grasping quality of our mind. As you breathe out, invite your hands to open. Let the fingers soften and gently curl. Let them rest, open and receptive in your lap. For any area of the body that feels particularly tight or painful, you can use a more focused technique. As you breathe in, imagine you could direct the breath itself to that one spot. Imagine the in-breath is a stream of warm, spacious, healing light, flowing into that area of tension. And as you breathe out, imagine you are breathing out from that very spot, and that the out-breath is carrying the tightness, the ache, the stress away with it. Breathing into the tension, breathing out, releasing the tension. Why is this practice so powerful? Because it works directly with the mind-body feedback loop. Our mind generates stress, and the body dutifully stores it as physical tension in our shoulders, our neck, our belly. This chronic muscle tension then sends a continuous, low-level signal of danger back to the brain's alarm center, the amygdala. It creates a self-perpetuating cycle of anxiety. By consciously and gently relaxing the body, we are interrupting this cycle at the physical level. We are sending a new message to our nervous system. With every relaxed out-breath, we are communicating. It is safe. You can stand down. You can rest. A calm body is one of the most powerful and effective ways to convince a worried mind that all is well. Think of the innate wisdom of an animal, like a cat. Watch a cat as it prepares to sleep. It doesn't just collapse. It engages in a ritual of release. It might circle a few times, knead the blanket with its paws, give a deep, full-body stretch, and then, with an audible sigh, it surrenders. It lets go completely, trusting its full weight to the support beneath it. There is no resistance, no holding back. As modern humans, we have largely forgotten this instinctual wisdom of surrender. Our minds are always on guard, telling our bodies to be ready for the next threat. This practice of calming the body is our way of remembering. It is the conscious cultivation of the art of letting go, of trusting the ground that supports us, of giving ourselves permission to be soft, vulnerable, and deeply at rest. Let us spend these final moments of our practice simply resting in this calmer, softer state. Let go of all the specific techniques and instructions. Simply be the silent, appreciative witness to a body that is more at ease. Feel the gentle pulsation of the breath in this softer, more spacious inner environment. Breathing in, aware of the calm. Breathing out, enjoying the calm. As our session draws to a close, begin to feel a sense of gratitude for your body. Thank it for its wisdom, for its resilience, and for its willingness to let go. Gently widen your awareness to once again include the room around you, the sounds, the temperature, the space. When you feel ready, allow your eyes to slowly and gently open. Take a moment. Carry this feeling of embodied calm with you. Know that you can return to this practice with a single conscious out-breath anytime you feel tension rising during your day. Today, we have used our awareness to offer a profound gift of healing to our physical body. We have learned to use the breath as a tool for release, for softening, for surrender. We have seen firsthand how a calm body can send powerful messages of safety to the mind. In our next session, we will take this powerful principle and apply it directly to our inner world of thoughts and emotions. Just as we have learned to calm the contractions of the body, we will learn to calm the very activities of the mind itself, bringing this same gentle, releasing awareness to the storms within. Welcome back. Our journey has brought us to a place of profound intimacy with ourselves. We began with the simple anchor of the breath. We expanded our awareness to inhabit the whole body. And in our last session, we learned to use our breath to bring a tangible, healing calm to the physical tensions we carry. We have built a safe harbor in the body. Today, from the stability of this harbor, we will turn our gaze toward the often turbulent weather of the mind itself. We will learn to apply the very same principles of gentle, loving awareness not just to the body, but to our thoughts and emotions. Let us begin by finding our posture, settling into this familiar position of alert relaxation. As you close your eyes, take a moment to consciously arrive. Let go of the story of your day and simply be here. First, reconnect with your body. Feel its presence, its weight, its life. Now, re-establish the practice of calming the body. Breathing in, become aware of your body sitting here. Breathing out, gently release any obvious tension. Allow your shoulders to soften, your jaw to unclench. Let your body become a foundation of ease. It is from this place of physical calm that we can most skillfully approach the mind. Now, with the body settled, we gently shift the focus of our intention. The new instruction is this: breathing in, I am aware of the activities in my mind. Breathing out, I calm the activities in my mind. What are these activities? They are the constant flow of thoughts, memories, plans, judgments, and the ceaseless river of emotions: joy, sadness, irritation, peace, anxiety. Our mind is like a busy inner sky, with thoughts and feelings passing through like clouds of all shapes and sizes. Our practice is not to create a clear, empty sky. That is impossible. Our practice is to become the sky itself, vast, open, and spaciable to hold all the clouds without being disturbed by them. This word, calm, is the most important part of this instruction. It does not mean to suppress, to stop, or to fight. If you see an anxious thought and you try to wrestle it to the ground, you are actually giving it more energy. You are engaging in a struggle. If you feel a wave of sadness and you try to push it away, you are not calming it. You are repressing it, forcing it into the basement of your mind, where it will only gather more strength. The act of calming is something far more gentle and wise. Imagine your mind is a glass of water, and a handful of mud has been stirred into it, creating a murky, chaotic mess. This is the agitated mind. One approach is to try and grab the particles of mud, to force them out of the water. This is struggle, and it only makes the water murkier. The path of mindfulness offers a different solution. The practice of calming the mind is like placing the glass under a gentle, steady stream of fresh, clear water. The out-breath is the act of pouring this clear water, this calm, accepting awareness into the glass. You are not fighting the mud. You are simply introducing clarity. As the clear water continuously flows in, the muddy water begins to overflow and be carried away. What remains of the mud is not fought or forced, but is simply allowed to settle peacefully at the bottom of the glass. The water becomes clear. This is what it means to calm the mind's activities. We are not at war with our thoughts. We are bathing them in a spacious, loving awareness. So how do we practice this? Especially when the activities of the mind are strong and difficult, like waves of anxiety, anger, or grief. We can use a wonderfully compassionate technique of acknowledging and befriending. When you notice a strong emotion has arisen, instead of recoiling from it or getting lost in its story, you can meet it at the gate of your awareness. The practice is to name it, simply and gently. For example, if you feel a familiar pang of anxiety, you can say to yourself, breathing in, I know that the feeling of anxiety is here in me. Breathing out, I smile to my feeling of anxiety. This act of smiling to an emotion is revolutionary. It is not a fake smile of happiness. It is the gentle, knowing, compassionate smile of a loving parent to a crying child. The smile doesn't deny the child's pain. It acknowledges it completely. The smile says, I see you. I hear you. It's okay that you are here. I will not abandon you. When we can meet our own inner pain with this quality of non-hostile, friendly recognition, its power over us begins to dissolve. It is no longer an enemy to be defeated or a flaw to be fixed. It is simply a part of our human experience, a visitor to be held with tenderness. This practice creates a crucial space. You are no longer saying, I am anxious. You are now saying, I am aware of the presence of anxiety within me. In that subtle shift of language is the shift from identification to liberation. You are no longer the storm. You are the sky that holds the storm. There is a powerful story from the life of the Buddha that illustrates this principle. The Buddha's jealous cousin Devadatta conspired to have him killed. He arranged for a notoriously fierce and wild elephant named Nalagiri to be intoxicated and released onto the narrow street where the Buddha was walking. When the people of the city saw the enraged elephant charging, they screamed and fled in terror. The Buddha's own monks urged him to run or use his powers, but the Buddha did not move. He stood perfectly still, his heart radiating an immense and fearless energy of loving kindness, or metta. He looked at the charging beast not as a threat, but as a suffering being. As the maddened elephant thundered toward him, it entered this powerful field of calm and love. Its steps began to slow. Its raised trunk began to lower. The rage in its eyes subsided. By the time it reached the Buddha, all its fury was spent. It knelt down peacefully and allowed the Buddha to gently stroke its forehead. Within each of us, we have our own raging elephants. We have our untamed anger, our charging fear, our deep-seated grief. Our habitual reaction is to do what the townspeople did, to run in terror. Or we try to fight the elephant head-on, a battle we can never win. The Buddha shows us a third way, the way of non-resistance, the way of meeting these powerful inner energies not with fear or aggression, but with the steady, unwavering, and compassionate power of our own mindful awareness. This is what it means to calm the activities of the mind. It is to become the Buddha in the face of our own inner elephant. Let us rest here for our final moments of practice. Let go of all instructions. Simply sit like the vast and open sky. Allow the clouds of thought and feeling to drift by. Some may be dark and stormy, others light and wispy. There is no need to cling to them, no need to push them away. You are the sky. You have space for it all. As we prepare to end our session, take a moment to acknowledge your courage. It takes great courage to sit quietly and be with the weather of one's own mind. Gently bring your awareness back to the feeling of your body, this calm harbor, back to the sounds in the room. When you are ready, let your eyes softly open. Know that this practice of calming acceptance is a skill you can carry with you. When the elephants of life charge at you today, you can remember this option, to meet them with the quiet strength of your own awareness. Today we have learned a powerful method for bringing peace to the inner storms of body and mind. But as we sit in practice, we inevitably encounter a persistent and often frustrating visitor, the endlessly wandering mind, the simple habit of distraction. How do we work with this visitor without creating even more struggle? In our next session, we will turn our full attention to this common experience, learning to transform distraction from an obstacle into a potent opportunity for deepening our practice. Welcome back. We have journeyed together into some deep and subtle territories of the mind and body. We have learned to use the breath as an anchor, to inhabit the body as a whole, and to gently calm the storms of physical tension and mental activity. Throughout these practices, you have undoubtedly encountered a constant companion, a visitor that shows up uninvited, again and again. Today, we turn our attention to this visitor. We are going to talk about distraction, about the wandering mind. For many people, this is the single greatest source of frustration in meditation. We sit down with the noble intention to be present, and within moments, our mind is a million miles away, planning dinner, replaying a conversation, worrying about a bill. We can feel like a failure, as though we are somehow bad at meditating. Today, I want to propose a radical shift in perspective. What if distraction was not the enemy of your meditation practice? What if it was not a sign of failure? What if, in fact, the experience of distraction was an essential and unavoidable part of the path itself? The first and most important thing to understand is this. The goal of this practice is not to stop thinking. This is a fundamental misunderstanding that creates immense struggle. To ask your mind to stop thinking is like asking your heart to stop beating. It is simply not what it is designed to do. The mind produces thoughts spontaneously, ceaselessly, as a natural function of its existence. Thoughts are not the problem. The problem, the source of our suffering, is our relationship with them. The problem is that we unconsciously believe every thought. We get entangled in every storyline, and we are carried away by every emotion. The practice of meditation is not about building a dam to stop the river of thought. It is about learning to sit peacefully on the riverbank and watch the water flow by, without having to jump in and be swept away by the current. With this understanding, the experience of distraction is completely transformed. Here is the secret. The moment you realize your mind has wandered is the most important moment of your practice. It is not a moment of failure. It is a moment of success. It is a moment of pure mindfulness. For several seconds, or perhaps even minutes, you were completely lost, absorbed in a mental movie, believing it to be real. Then, something in you woke up. An awareness dawned. Oh, I am no longer with my breath. I am thinking about work. That oh moment, that moment of realizing, is the practice. It is the gatekeeper at his post, suddenly noticing a visitor he hadn't seen before. It is the sun of awareness breaking through the clouds of thought. In that instant, you are awake. You are present. So instead of scolding yourself, the appropriate response is a quiet, inner congratulations. Ah, I'm back. I woke up. If you can learn to greet these moments of waking up with warmth and appreciation instead of frustration, your entire practice will change. It ceases to be a struggle for perfection and becomes a gentle, continuous process of returning home. The practical method for working with distraction is a simple three-part rhythm. Let's call it the 3 R's: recognize, release, and return. First, you recognize that the mind has wandered. You do this gently, without drama. You can make a soft mental label like thinking, planning, remembering, worrying. The label is not meant to be a judgment, but simply a clear, dispassionate identification of the activity. It's like the gatekeeper noting, "Ah, a merchant." The second step is to release. You gently let go of the storyline. You don't follow the thought any further down its rabbit hole. You don't analyze why you were thinking it. You simply open your mental fist and let the thought go, allowing it to be on its way. The third step is to return. With kindness and patience, you gently escort your awareness back to your chosen anchor, the physical sensation of the breath. That's the entire loop. Recognize, release, return. This is the core workout for the mindfulness muscle. A crucial part of this process is learning how not to shoot what the Buddha called the second arrow. The first arrow is the initial event, the distraction itself. A thought appears. This is unavoidable. It is like a gust of wind. The second arrow is our reaction to the event. It is the arrow we shoot into ourselves. It is the voice of the inner critic that says, "Ugh, not again. I can't believe I'm so unfocused. I'm terrible at this." The first arrow, the distraction, causes very little suffering. It is the second arrow, our own self-judgment and frustration, that causes immense pain and turns the practice into a battlefield. The entire art of working with distraction is learning to notice the first arrow without firing the second. You simply recognize the thought, release it, and return, without adding the extra layer of commentary and self-criticism. To cultivate this gentle attitude, it can be incredibly helpful to think of your mind as a young, curious, and very energetic puppy. Imagine you are trying to teach this puppy to sit on a mat. You gently place the puppy on the mat. Your breath. It stays for about half a second, then sees a butterfly, a thought, and joyfully bounds off to chase it. What is your response? If you were to scream at the puppy, to yank its leash, to punish it for being a puppy, you would only create fear and resistance. You would crush its spirit. The wise and loving approach is to smile, to call its name gently, and to kindly lead it back to the mat. And when it runs off again a few seconds later, you do the same thing, again and again, with endless patience. You understand that the training is not in the perfect sitting. The training is in the gentle, compassionate returning. Our minds are this puppy. We must learn to be a kind and patient trainer to our own mind, celebrating its energy and gently guiding it back home, 1,000 times if necessary. Perhaps the most profound way to reframe this entire experience is with the metaphor of the sky and the clouds. Your true nature, the awareness that is reading these words right now, is like the sky vast, open, clear, and boundless. It is always present, always peaceful. Your thoughts, emotions, memories, and sensations are like the clouds. The clouds are not the sky. They simply pass through the sky. Some days the sky is filled with dark, stormy clouds of anger or anxiety. Some days it is filled with white, fluffy clouds of joy and peace. Some days it is almost empty. But through it all, the sky itself remains unchanged, unstained, and unharmed by the clouds that pass through it. The sky doesn't fight the storm clouds or try to cling to the pretty white ones. It has space for all of it. The great mistake we make is that we believe we are the clouds. We identify with the passing weather of our minds. The practice of mindfulness is the process of realizing, in your own direct experience, you are not the clouds, you are the sky. A thought is just a thought. An emotion is just an emotion. They are temporary weather patterns. You are the vast, open awareness in which all of this weather takes place. So, distraction is not a problem to be solved. It is the very field upon which we practice. It is our greatest teacher. Every time your mind wanders, you are given a precious opportunity to practice waking up, to practice letting go, and most importantly, to practice being kind to yourself. The more you practice this gentle returning, the stronger the muscle of mindfulness becomes, and the deeper the well of self-compassion grows. This quality of kindness that we learn to bring to our own wandering mind, this gentle refusal to shoot the second arrow, is a practice of love. The Buddha understood its power so well that he gave this quality its own specific name and a formal practice to cultivate it, a practice designed to intentionally soften the heart and make this journey not just one of discipline, but one of deep and abiding joy. In our next session, we will explore this beautiful and transformative practice. We will learn how to actively cultivate metta, or boundless loving kindness. Welcome back, my friends. We have been on a profound journey of self-discovery, a path of clear seeing. We have learned to watch the breath, to inhabit the body, to calm our physical and mental states, and most recently, to meet our own wandering mind with a newfound patience and understanding. That very quality of gentle, non-judgmental kindness we offer to our distracted thoughts is not just a clever technique, it is a doorway into the heart. Today, we are going to walk through that door. We are going to learn how to intentionally cultivate this quality of kindness, to water it like a precious seed, so that it can grow into a great, sheltering tree that can protect us from the harsh sun of our own inner critic. This practice is known in the Pali language as metta, and it translates as loving kindness. What is metta? It is not the sentimental, conditional love of romance novels or movies. It is something far more stable and profound. Metta is a benevolent, unconditional wish for well-being, for ourselves and for all living things. It is like the warmth of the sun, which shines equally on the beautiful flower and the jagged rock, without preference, without agenda. It is the sincere, heartfelt wish. May you be happy. May you be safe. May you be at peace. This practice is the direct antidote to the forces of ill will, anger, jealousy, fear, and most importantly, the harsh self-judgment that so often fuels our anxiety and sleepless nights. The inner critic, the voice that tells us we are not good enough, that shoots the second arrow of shame when we make a mistake, thrives in a cold heart. Metta is the practice of building a warm, roaring fire in the center of our being, a fire that melts the ice of self-criticism and fear. So let us begin this practice of warming the heart. Find your comfortable, dignified posture, and for this practice, I invite you to do something new. Allow a very gentle, subtle smile to form on your lips. It is not a wide, forced grin. It is just a slight upturn at the corners of the mouth, an expression of inner gentleness. This small physical shift sends a powerful message to your nervous system, a signal that it is safe to soften, to open. Now, let your awareness, which we have so often placed at the nostrils or the abdomen, travel to the center of your chest, the area of your physical heart. Imagine this as your center for today. Rest your attention here, feeling the gentle rhythm of your breath in this space. Traditionally, the practice of metta begins with the person we often find it hardest to offer kindness to, ourselves. For many of us, it is far easier to wish well for others than for ourselves. So if this first step feels difficult or awkward, know that this is completely normal. Be patient. The practice is to repeat a series of phrases silently in your mind, like a gentle, loving whisper to your own soul. Let us begin. Bringing your awareness to your heart center, offer yourself these wishes. May I be safe. May I be safe from inner and outer harm, safe from the tyranny of my own fearful thoughts, safe from the judgments of others and from my own self-criticism. May I feel secure and protected. May I be healthy. May my body be strong, resilient, and free from illness. May my mind be healthy, clear, and peaceful. May I have the energy to navigate the challenges of my life. May I be happy. May I be truly happy in the deep sense of contentment and well-being. May I appreciate the moments of joy, and may I find peace even amidst sorrow. May my heart be light. May I live with ease. May I be free from the constant struggle and strain of resistance. May I learn to move through my life with a sense of grace, acceptance, and peace. May my life be easy. Continue to repeat these phrases, or any phrases that resonate with you, letting them sink into your heart. If you find this difficult, if the voice of the inner critic arises to say, "You don't deserve this," simply acknowledge that voice as a cloud passing through the sky of your awareness. You can even offer metta to that critical voice. May you also be at peace. If it still feels too hard, try visualizing yourself as a very small, innocent child. Offer these phrases of loving kindness to that child. Or, for now, you can simply skip this step and begin with the next one. The key is kindness and patience. Now, let us expand the circle of loving kindness. Bring to mind a dear friend, a beloved family member, a teacher, or even a cherished pet, someone for whom you feel an easy, uncomplicated love and appreciation. Picture them clearly in your mind's eye. See them smiling. Now, direct the full force of your warm-hearted wishes toward them. May you be safe. May you be protected from all harm. May you feel secure and at peace. May you be healthy. May your body and mind be well and strong. May you be happy. May your heart be filled with joy and contentment. May you live with ease. May your life be free from struggle and filled with grace. Feel the warmth in your own heart as you genuinely wish for this person's well-being. This feeling is the essence of metta. Rest in this warm, benevolent glow for a few moments. Next, we will stretch the muscle of the heart a little further. Bring to mind a neutral person, someone you see in your daily life but for whom you feel neither strong like nor dislike. It could be a cashier at the grocery store, a person you see on your daily commute, your mail carrier. Picture this person in your mind. You may not know their story, but you know one thing for certain. Just like you, this person wishes to be happy and to be free from suffering. Recognizing this shared humanity, offer them the very same phrases. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. May you live with ease. Notice if this feels different. This practice helps us to see beyond the roles and labels we assign to people and to connect with them on the simple, fundamental level of our shared existence. Now, we approach the most challenging and transformative step of the practice. I invite you to bring to mind someone with whom you have difficulty. It is wise to start with someone who is only mildly irritating or difficult, not the person who has caused you the greatest pain in your life. Bring their image to mind. Acknowledge the feelings of hurt or anger that may arise. The invitation here is not necessarily to forgive them or to condone their actions. The primary purpose of this step is to free yourself from the burden of carrying anger and resentment. Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. Point 1. For the sake of your own peace, for the sake of your own freedom, see if you can offer this person a sliver of metta. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be free from the suffering that causes you to act in harmful ways. If this is too difficult, you can simply wish, "May your suffering be eased," and leave it at that. This is an advanced practice. Do not force it. Simply notice what arises and meet it with the same gentle awareness we have been cultivating all along. Finally, let us now allow our metta to become boundless. Let go of any specific person and let the warmth in your heart radiate outwards in all directions, to the front, to the back, to the right, to the left, above, and below. Imagine this gentle, loving energy expanding from your heart to fill the room you are in, then the building, the city, the country, the entire world. to all beings everywhere without exception, to the great and the small, the seen and the unseen, the near and the far. May all beings be safe. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be happy. May all beings live with ease. For these final moments, let us return our awareness to ourselves, resting in our own heart center. Bathe yourself in this energy of loving kindness you have generated. Feel yourself as both the giver and the receiver of this immense gift. The person who lies awake at night, their mind a courtroom where they are both prosecutor and defendant, is starved of this quality. The practice of metta is the act of granting yourself a full and unconditional pardon. It is the loving voice that says, "You are forgiven. You are worthy of peace. You are worthy of rest." This simple shift from judgment to kindness can be the very medicine that allows the exhausted mind and body to finally let go. Today, we have learned to actively water the seeds of kindness in our hearts. We now have the tools of clear seeing from our mindfulness practice, and the tools of a soft heart from our metta practice. It is said that mindfulness and compassion are like the two wings of a bird. With both, we can truly learn to fly. In our next session, we will explore how to take these two wings off the meditation cushion and into the flight of our daily lives, learning how to build a sanctuary of peace not just in formal practice, but in the very midst of our busy world. Welcome back. We have spent our time together on the meditation cushion, building a powerful toolkit for the mind and heart. We have learned to anchor ourselves in the breath, to inhabit the body, to calm our inner storms, and to cultivate a boundless, loving kindness. We have been like a musician, practicing scales and chords in the quiet of a studio. But music is not meant to stay in the studio. It is meant to be played in the concert hall of life. The great question that arises for every practitioner is this: what happens when I get up from the cushion? How do I keep this precious peace from evaporating the moment I check my email or get stuck in traffic? Today, we address this question directly. We will learn how to take our practice off the cushion and weave it into the very fabric of our daily lives. The ultimate goal is not to become a good meditator for 20 minutes a day. The goal is to dissolve the boundary between your meditation time and your other time, so that your entire life becomes a seamless flow of mindful awareness. We are learning to build an inner sanctuary, a portable refuge of peace that you can access at any time, in any place, simply by returning to your own awareness. This is the art of informal practice. Let us begin with one of the most fundamental things we do every day: walking. So much of our walking is done on autopilot. Our minds are 1,000 miles away while our bodies carry us from point A to point B. We can transform this mundane activity into a profound practice of grounding. The next time you are walking to your car, down a hallway at work, in a park, try this. Bring your attention out of your head and into the soles of your feet. With each step, feel the sensation of your foot connecting with the earth. Feel the heel strike, the weight rolling through the foot, and the final liftoff of the toes. You don't need to walk in an unnaturally slow or strange way. Simply feel. The rhythm of your walking can become an anchor, just like the breath. Left, right, left, right. With each step, you are returning to your body. With each step, you are arriving in the present moment. Now, let us consider eating. For many of us, eating is a rushed and mindless activity, often done while scrolling through our phones or watching a screen. We taste almost nothing. We can change this. I invite you to perform a small experiment at your next meal. For just the first 3 bites, practice mindful eating. Before you lift the fork, take a moment to look at your food. Notice the colors, the shapes, the textures. Take a moment to smell its aroma. As you take the first bite, be aware of the fork or spoon touching your lips. As you chew slowly. Try to identify the different flavors. Notice the texture. Be fully present for the miracle of nourishment. After those 3 mindful bites, you can eat as you normally would. But for that brief period, you were not just consuming calories, you were fully inhabiting your life. This same principle can be applied to any simple action. The act of drinking your morning coffee or tea can become a ritual of presence. Instead of gulping it down while your mind is already at work, take a moment. Feel the warmth of the mug in your hands. See the steam rising from the surface. Inhale its familiar, comforting scent. And when you take the first sip, let your attention be fully consumed by the taste and the warmth as it spreads through your body. In that moment, there are no problems. There is only the simple, profound reality of a warm drink. We can also transform our relationships through the practice of mindful listening. So often when we are in conversation, we are not truly listening. We are hearing the other person's words, but our mind is busy formulating our reply, waiting for our turn to speak, or judging what they are saying. True, mindful listening is a rare and precious gift. The next time someone is speaking to you, try to listen with your whole being. Listen not just to their words, but to the feeling and the meaning behind them. Can you rest your awareness simply on the act of receiving their communication, without the inner chatter of your own response? To offer someone your silent, undivided, mindful presence is one of the greatest acts of kindness you can perform. To help us remember to come back to this state of presence during a busy day, the Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh created the beautiful practice of using a mindfulness bell. A mindfulness bell is not necessarily a physical bell. It is any sound, sight, or event in our daily life that we choose to use as a signal to wake up, to return to our breath and our body. You can create your own mindfulness bells. For example, you can decide that every time your phone rings, you will not grab it instantly. You will let the first ring be your bell. You will pause, take one conscious in-breath and out-breath, and then answer the phone. You will enter the conversation from a place of presence rather than frantic reaction. When you are driving and you stop at a red light, this can be your bell. Instead of feeling impatient, you can use those 30 seconds as a gift. You can feel your hands on the steering wheel, notice your posture, and take 3 slow, conscious breaths. Every time you walk through a doorway, you can let the frame of the door be a reminder to ask yourself, where am I right now? Am I in my head, or am I in my body? These are not long meditations. They are micro practices, moments of awakening that take only a few seconds. But when sprinkled throughout your day, they have the power to completely transform your experience of life, rewiring your brain for presence instead of distraction. The cumulative effect of all these informal practices is the construction of an unshakable inner sanctuary. The world outside may continue to be chaotic and unpredictable. The storms will still come, but you will have a place within yourself, a refuge of deep quiet and stability that no external event can touch. You will know, with the certainty of your own experience, that you can access this peace at any time, simply by returning to the feeling of your feet on the ground or the sensation of a single breath. The great Zen master Linji was once asked by a student, "What is the great secret of your practice?" Linji replied with a famous and profound statement, "When I am hungry, I eat. When I am tired, I sleep." The student was perplexed. "But master," he said, "isn't that what everybody does?" Linji smiled gently. "No," he said. "When an ordinary person eats, they are not just eating. Their mind is worrying about 100 different things. When they lie down to sleep, they are not just sleeping. Their mind is scheming about 10,000 different affairs. When I eat, I just eat. When I sleep, I just sleep." This simple, profound, undivided presence is the fruit of the path we are cultivating. It is not about escaping our lives, but about learning to inhabit them so completely that every action becomes a meditation, every moment a homecoming. We have now learned how to weave our practice into the very fabric of our waking day. Let us now turn our attention to a particularly important transition, the sacred passage from the activity of the day to the deep rest of the night. Just as we can bring mindfulness to eating or walking, we can bring it to the act of preparing for sleep, transforming it from a time of anxiety into a ritual of peace. In our next session, we will learn how to create a simple yet powerful evening practice, a way of consciously letting go of the day to prepare the ground of our being for a truly deep and restorative night's sleep. Welcome, friend. We have come to a very special and sacred time, the end of the day. Our journey has taken us through the art of living mindfully, of weaving presence into our walking, our eating, our listening. Now, we turn our attention to the art of resting mindfully. For so many of us, the transition from the busyness of the day to the quiet of the night is an abrupt and jarring one. We work, we watch, we scroll, and then we turn off the light and expect our minds, which have been racing at top speed, to suddenly come to a complete stop. It is no wonder that for many, the bed is not a place of peace, but a battlefield of anxiety and sleeplessness. Tonight, we will learn a different way. We will learn to approach our rest not as a crash landing, but as a gentle and skillful docking procedure. Imagine your body and mind are a great ship that has been sailing the stormy, unpredictable seas of a long day. The ship has worked hard, navigating challenges, weathering winds, and carrying its cargo. Now, as night falls, it approaches the calm, quiet harbor of sleep. A wise captain does not simply drive the ship at full speed toward the shore. There is a careful, deliberate, and respectful process. The ship slows, the heavy anchors are released, the engines are powered down, and the mooring ropes are secured to the land. Only then, when the ship is truly settled and safe, can the crew finally find deep, restorative rest. This evening, we will learn to be that wise captain for our own vessel. We will create a simple, sacred ritual for docking our ship for the night. This ritual begins not when your head hits the pillow, but in the hour or so before. The first step is to signal to the entire system that the voyage is ending. This means consciously lowering the stimulation from the outside world. Dim the lights in your home. Turn off the bright, glaring screens of the television, the computer, the phone, which send powerful daytime signals to your brain. Perhaps put on some soft, quiet music, or simply enjoy the sounds of the evening. This is the act of slowing the ship as it approaches the mouth of the harbor. The second step is one of the most practical and powerful things you can do to prevent nighttime worry. We will perform a mental discharge, or a brain dump. So much of our nighttime anxiety comes from the mind's desperate attempt to not forget the tasks and worries of tomorrow. It spins them around and around, afraid to let them go. We can offer our mind a great gift by externalizing them. Take out a simple notebook and a pen. For 5 or 10 minutes, write down everything that is swirling in your mind. Create your to-do list for tomorrow. Write down the deadline you are worried about. Note the difficult conversation you need to have. Get it all out of your head and onto the paper. In doing this, you are making a contract with your mind. You are saying, I see you. I have recorded your concerns. They are safe here. You no longer need to hold on to them. You are released from your duty for the night. Now, before you close that notebook, turn to a fresh page. We will perform the third step of our docking procedure. We will take stock of the day's treasures by practicing gratitude. The mind has a natural negativity bias. It is like Velcro for bad experiences and Teflon for good ones. We must consciously counteract this. Write down 3 specific things that happened today for which you are genuinely grateful. Be specific. Not just, I'm grateful for my family, but I am grateful for the hug my partner gave me when I came home. Not just, I'm grateful for nature, but I am grateful for the incredible color of the sunset I saw for a few moments this evening. This practice tunes the radio of your mind away from the static of complaint and toward the clear, warm frequency of appreciation. It changes the entire emotional climate as you prepare for rest. Now, with the ship slowed and the cargo accounted for, the final part of our ritual takes place as you get into bed. This is the moment we drop anchor. Lie down comfortably. Allow your body to be fully supported by the mattress. Take a few gentle, deep breaths. Now, we will begin a letting go scan of the body. Bring your awareness all the way down to your feet. As you breathe out, consciously release your feet. Let them go completely heavy. Surrender their weight to the bed. On your next out breath, release your calves and your shins. Let them soften and relax. On the next out breath, release your thighs and your hips, letting go of the powerful muscles that carried you through your day. This is the sound of the anchor chains being released, link by link. Continue this journey up your body. As you breathe out, release your abdomen and your lower back. Let go of the tension so often held here. With the next out breath, release your chest and your upper back. With the next, release your hands and your arms. Let them be heavy and limp. And now, the shoulders and the neck. This is a great warehouse of tension. As you breathe out, imagine your shoulders melting away from your ears, releasing all the burdens they have carried. Finally, release your head. Let go of your jaw, your face, your scalp. Feel the full weight of your head sinking deeply into the pillow. Your anchor is now dropped. Your entire body is resting, heavy, and at peace. With the anchor dropped, we secure the mooring ropes with a simple, clear intention. You can repeat these words silently to yourself, letting them be the last conscious thought of your day. The work of the day is done. My body has served me well, and now it is time for rest. My mind has served me well, and now it is time for peace. Everything else can wait until morning. Say it again. The work of the day is done. Now is the time for rest. Your ritual is complete. Your ship is safely in the harbor. There is nothing more for you to do. There is no need to try to sleep. Sleep is not something you do. It is something you allow. It is a surrender. Your only job now is to feel the gentle, rhythmic rocking of your own breath, and to allow yourself to drift, to float on the vast, quiet, healing ocean of deep sleep. This ritual is a powerful way to prepare the ground of your being for rest. But what happens if, despite our best efforts, the ship's alarm bell goes off in the silent hours of the night? What happens if we find ourselves wide awake at 3 a.m.? What is the mindful response then? Our next session will be a gentle guide for those specific moments, a friend for the middle of the night, teaching us how to transform that restless awareness from a source of panic into a profound opportunity for peace. And so, it has happened. The world outside your window is a deep, silent velvet. But here, inside, you are awake. Your eyes have opened in the darkness. A quick glance at the clock confirms your fear sit is that lonely, liminal hour, long after you fell asleep, and long before the world is due to wake. The first reaction for almost all of us is a familiar, sinking feeling in the stomach. A wave of silent panic. Oh no, the mind screams, not again. This is the beginning of the battle. The mind immediately leaps into the future, catastrophizing. I'll be exhausted tomorrow. I won't be able to function at work. The whole day will be ruined. I have to get back to sleep. Let us pause here. In this critical moment, the simple, neutral fact of the matter is this: you are awake. That is the first arrow. It is an event, neither good nor bad. It simply is. The suffering, the panic, the desperation that is the second arrow. That is the arrow we shoot into ourselves, born from our resistance to the reality of the first. The suffering does not come from being awake. The suffering comes from our reaction to being awake. It is the fear and the frustration that flood our bodies with cortisol and adrenaline, the very hormones that make sleep impossible. For years we have fought this battle, and for years we have lost. Tonight, we will not fight. We will do something completely different. We will transform this moment from a catastrophe into an opportunity. We will reframe this unwelcome wakefulness from a curse into a quiet, sacred space for practice. The first step is to change the opening line of your inner script. Instead of the panicked, "Oh no," let the first thought be one of gentle, neutral acceptance. "Ah, wakefulness is here." Or, "I notice that I am awake right now." Say it softly to yourself. Feel the difference. You are not approving of it. You are not liking it. You are simply acknowledging reality without adding the second arrow of judgment. This simple act stops the cascade of panic before it can even begin. The next step is to completely abandon the goal of getting back to sleep. This may sound paradoxical, but it is the secret to everything. Sleep is not a fortress that can be conquered by force. It is not a prize to be won through struggle. Sleep is a shy animal, a butterfly that must be allowed to land on your hand of its own accord. The more you grasp and lunge for it, the more you frighten it away. The very act of trying to sleep creates effort, tension, and anxiety, the exact opposites of the soft, relaxed surrender that sleep requires. So, for now, let go of sleep as a goal. Release it completely. Your new goal is not to be asleep. Your new goal is to be peacefully awake. This quiet, dark, distraction-free time is in fact a perfect meditation hall. You have been given an unexpected gift of time to practice. So, what is the practice? You have a beautiful toolkit you have already cultivated. First, return to your body. The anxious mind wants to live in the abstract future. Bring it back to the tangible present. Feel the reality of your body lying in bed. Notice the simple, pleasant sensations. Feel the warmth and weight of your blanket. Feel the softness of your pillow supporting your head. Feel the texture of the sheets against your skin. Anchor yourself in these simple, non-threatening physical realities. Your body is safe. It is comfortable. It is being held. Rest in this feeling. Next, return to your anchor. Gently bring your awareness to your breath. Don't try to make it deep or slow. Just find its quiet, natural rhythm. It may be very shallow and subtle, and that is perfectly fine. Just feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest or abdomen. Silently note, in, out. The breath is your most faithful friend in the middle of the night. It is always here, always present, a steady rhythm in the quiet ocean of the night. Let it soothe you, let it be your focal point. Each time a worried thought about tomorrow arises, see it, acknowledge it, and then gently, lovingly, escort your attention back to the simple, humble sensation of this one breath. If you find your mind is particularly agitated, full of worry or self-criticism, trying to focus on the breath might feel difficult. This is a perfect moment to practice metta, loving kindness. Instead of fighting the worried thoughts, bathe them in warmth. Place a hand gently on your heart and offer yourself these wishes. May I be peaceful. May I be at ease. May my body find the rest it needs in its own time. It's okay. May I be free from fear. This practice of self-compassion is a powerful antidote to the fear-based narrative that often accompanies nighttime wakefulness. You are becoming your own soothing, reassuring parent in the dark. If, after 20 minutes or so of practicing in bed, you find yourself becoming more, not less, agitated, it is wise to perform a gentle reset. The bed itself can become associated with anxiety. In this case, slowly and mindfully, get out of bed, move to another room. Make yourself a warm, caffeine-free drink like chamomile tea or warm milk. Don't turn on bright lights or screens. Perhaps sit in a comfortable chair by a window and look at the moon, or the stars, or the quiet, sleeping street. You might read a few pages of a book that you find calming and perhaps a little boring. The goal is not to start your day, but to break the cycle of anxiety. When you begin to feel a natural wave of drowsiness, a genuine tiredness, then return to bed. Lie down and begin your practice again from a fresh start, returning to your body and to your breath. There is a reason that many long-term meditation practitioners, like Zen monks, can thrive on very little sleep. It is not because they have a special biology. It is because they do not waste a single moment of their waking time in worry. When they are awake, they are mindfully awake. They are practicing. They are present. They do not generate the exhausting second-arrow suffering of, "I should be asleep." Therefore, the sleep they do get is deep, efficient, and restorative. We can learn from this. By transforming our nighttime wakefulness into a period of quiet, peaceful practice, we are no longer depleting our energy. We are, in a subtle way, still resting. We are resting in awareness. So, the next time you find yourself awake in the silent hours, greet this moment as a friend. It is not an enemy to be fought. It is a quiet visitor, offering you a precious, uninterrupted space to deepen your peace, to practice your compassion, and to befriend your own mind. Let go of the need to be anywhere else and simply be here, resting in the quiet, breathing in the dark. This profound ability to transform a difficult situation like nighttime wakefulness into a practice of peace rests upon an even deeper principle. It is built upon the subtle, gentle, and powerful art of letting go, releasing our attachment to how we think things should be, and accepting them as they are. In our next session, we will dive deeply into this art of letting go, the very heart of freedom. Welcome back to the practice. We have been exploring the gentle arts of being present, of calming the body, and of soothing the mind. We have even learned to transform the difficult experience of nighttime wakefulness into an opportunity for peace. Underpinning all of these practices is a single, profound principle, a current that runs through all the Buddha's teachings. It is the art of letting go. This art is perhaps the most misunderstood and yet the most liberating skill we can ever cultivate. When we hear the phrase letting go, our Western minds often interpret it as weakness, apathy, or irresponsible surrender. It can sound like giving up on our goals or becoming passive in the face of injustice. But in the context of inner freedom, letting go is none of these things. It is an act of profound strength, intelligence, and courage. The Pali language has several words for this, including nekkhamma, which means renunciation or relinquishment, and vissagga, which implies a total release, a handing over. It is not a passive resignation. It is an active and wise release of the burdens that cause us to suffer. It is crucial to distinguish true letting go from its counterfeit, which is pushing away. Pushing away is an act of aversion. It is born of fear and anger. When we try to force a painful memory out of our minds or suppress a difficult emotion, we are engaging in a form of violence. We are fighting with our own experience, and this struggle only creates more tension. True letting go comes from a place of wisdom, not aversion. It is the result of seeing clearly that our own clinging, our own grasping, is the source of our pain. Imagine you are holding a hot coal in your hand. You don't need to tell yourself, "I should let go of this." You don't need to fight with the coal. The moment you feel the searing pain, the wisdom arises instantly. Holding on is hurting me, and you simply open your hand. The letting go is effortless, born of clear seeing. This is the art we are cultivating, the wisdom to see the hot coals we are clinging to in our own minds, and the grace to gently open our hands. We can apply this art to the three dimensions of time that occupy our minds: the past, the future, and the present self. First, let us consider letting go of the past. For so many of us, the past is not a place of learning we visit, but a heavy anchor we drag behind us through life. It is filled with our regrets over things we did and our resentments over things that were done to us. We lie awake at night, replaying old scenes, rewriting old scripts, feeling the fresh sting of ancient wounds. To hold a grievance against someone is, as the saying goes, like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. The suffering is entirely our own. Letting go of a past hurt is not about condoning the other person's actions. It is not about saying what they did was okay. It is an act of profound self-compassion. It is the decision to stop drinking the poison. It is cancelling a debt, not for their sake but for yours, so you no longer have to carry the exhausting burden of being a debt collector. Even more difficult can be letting go of our regrets, forgiving ourselves. We often hold our past selves to an impossible standard, blaming them for not knowing what we know now. Letting go here means offering our younger self the compassion to say, "You did the best you could with the understanding you had at the time." It is releasing the demand that history should have been different. Next, we learn the art of letting go of the future. If clinging to the past is the root of depression and resentment, clinging to the future is the root of anxiety. Our relationship with the future is often a desperate attempt to control the uncontrollable. We spend countless hours mentally rehearsing for a future that will never arrive exactly as we plan. There is a vital difference between wise planning and anxious worrying. Wise planning is packing an umbrella because the forecast calls for rain. Anxious worrying is spending the entire day in a state of misery, imagining how terrible it will be to get wet. The practice of letting go of the future is to do what is necessary to pack the umbrella and then to release our attachment to the outcome. It is to trust in our capacity to meet whatever happens. It is a shift from the stressful declaration, "I must control everything," to the peaceful confidence, "I can respond to anything." We do our part, we plant the seeds, we water the garden, but we cannot control the weather. Letting go is accepting that we are the gardener, not the master of the universe. Finally, and most profoundly, we come to the practice of letting go of the self. This is the ultimate release. We have spent our whole lives constructing a story of me. This me is the hero of our internal movie. It is the one who is smart, the one who is a failure, the one who is an anxious person, the one who is a bad sleeper. We cling to this story, this identity, with a white-knuckled grip, but Buddhist wisdom teaches us that this solid self we cling to is an illusion. It is a temporary collection of thoughts, feelings, memories, and sensations, constantly changing, constantly in flux. Letting go of the self does not mean we cease to exist. It means we stop clinging to a rigid, fixed, and ultimately stressful identity. It is the difference between seeing yourself as a stone statue and seeing yourself as a flowing river. When we are identified as the statue, every knock and chip feels like a personal attack, a permanent flaw. When we know ourselves as the river, we understand that everything is just flowing through. A log of anger may float by, but it is not the river. A patch of murky sadness may appear, but it is not the river. When we can rest in this flowing, process-oriented view of ourselves, a wave of anxiety can pass through our system, and we no longer have to personalize it by saying, "I am anxious." We can see it with a wise distance. The energy of anxiety is passing through this field of awareness. The identification is cut, and in that severing, true freedom is found. There is a classic Zen story that perfectly illustrates this art. Two monks were on a long pilgrimage. They came to a river that was swollen with recent rains. A beautiful young woman stood at the river bank, afraid to cross. Without a word, the senior monk walked over to her, lifted her onto his back, carried her across the churning water, and gently set her down on the other side. He then continued his journey. The junior monk followed, silent and visibly agitated. For hours they walked, the junior monk fuming. Finally, miles down the road, he could contain himself no longer. He burst out, "Brother, how could you do that? You know our vows. We are forbidden to touch a woman, let alone carry one in such a manner." The senior monk looked at his companion with a calm, gentle expression. He replied softly, "Brother, I set that woman down by the river miles ago. Are you still carrying her?" This is the question we must ask ourselves every day. What are we still carrying? What old hurts? What future fears? What rigid ideas of ourselves are we still carrying on our backs, long after the event has passed? The art of letting go is the practice of setting down these unnecessary burdens, so that we may walk our path with a lighter step, a freer heart, and a more peaceful mind. This practice of releasing our grip on the past, the future, and even our fixed ideas of ourselves cultivates a very specific and precious state of mind. It is a state of profound balance, a quiet heart that can stand steady amidst the inevitable ups and downs of life. It is a peace that is not dependent on circumstances. The Buddha gave this unshakable quality a name, upekkha, or equanimity. In our next session, we will learn how to intentionally cultivate this deep and resilient balance. Welcome back. Our path has led us through the beautiful and transformative art of letting go, the practice of gently opening our hands and releasing the burdens of the past, the future, and even our most cherished ideas about ourselves. When we begin to truly let go, when the clenched fist of clinging starts to relax its grip, a remarkable quality of mind begins to emerge. A deep, quiet, and unshakable stability begins to permeate our being. This quality is the natural fruit of wisdom and letting go. In the Buddhist tradition, it is called upekkha. It is the profound and resilient peace of equanimity. Upekkha, or equanimity, is one of the 4 divine abodes or sublime states of heart, alongside loving kindness, metta, compassion, karuna, and sympathetic joy, mudita. It is often considered the crowning glory of these 4, because it provides the vast, steady ground upon which the others can stand. But like letting go, equanimity is a word that can be easily misunderstood. It can sound like indifference, detachment, or a cold, uncaring aloofness. This is a complete misunderstanding. Indifference is born from a lack of care. It is a closing of the heart. It says, "I don't care about you or your suffering." Equanimity is born from a deep and courageous wisdom. It is the heart at its most open and fearless. Equanimity says, "I care about you and your suffering deeply, but I am not shaken by it because I understand the vast impersonal nature of life's unfolding." Indifference is a wall we build around the heart to protect it. Equanimity is the realization that the heart is as vast as the open sky and needs no protection. The true test of our equanimity comes in how we meet what are known as the 8 worldly winds. These are the inevitable, paired opposites of life that are constantly blowing upon us, threatening to knock us off balance. They are pleasure and pain, gain and loss, praise and blame, and fame and disgrace. The untrained mind is like a leaf tossed about by these winds. When the wind of praise blows, we soar with pride. When the wind of blame blows, we are dashed to the ground in shame. When we experience gain, we are euphoric. When we experience loss, we are devastated. Our inner peace is completely hostage to these external, uncontrollable conditions. This is a fragile, stressful, and exhausting way to live. Equanimity is the cultivation of an inner anchor so deep and stable that we are no longer at the mercy of these winds. This does not mean we become unfeeling robots. The equanimous mind still feels the warmth of praise and the sting of blame. It still feels the joy of gain and the sadness of loss, but it is not defined by them. It is not knocked over by them. It has a deeper sense of home, a profound understanding that all of these states are, by their very nature, impermanent. They are like weather patterns, constantly changing. The wise mind doesn't try to cling to the sunny day or rage against the thunderstorm. It simply puts on the appropriate clothes and continues on its path. This inner stability, this freedom from being jerked around by the ups and downs of life, is the essence of true peace. So how do we cultivate this unshakable quality? The primary method is the consistent application of mindfulness to the law of impermanence, anicca. It is the practice of watching, with a calm and steady attention, the constant arising and passing away of all our experiences. In your formal meditation, you sit and you feel a pleasant sensation in your body. The habit of the mind is to cling to it, to want more of it. The practice of cultivating equanimity is to simply note, a pleasant feeling, arising, and then you watch it without grasping until it naturally changes or fades, and you note, pleasant feeling, passing away. A difficult thought, a memory filled with sadness, arises. Instead of pushing it away, you note with calm interest, sad memory, arising, and you allow it to be there, knowing it too is a temporary cloud, and you watch as it eventually dissolves. Sad memory, passing away. You do this with sounds, with smells, with every object of the mind. This is the training. By observing the transient nature of these small moment-to-moment experiences, we are building the wisdom and the resilience to understand the transient nature of the large experiences in our lives. Gain will arise, and it will pass away. Loss will arise, and it will pass away. Praise will arise, and it will pass away. Blame will arise, and it will pass away. This is not a pessimistic philosophy. It is the simple, observable truth of reality. The more we see this truth directly, the less we are inclined to grasp or to resist. We can apply this profound wisdom directly to the challenge of sleeplessness. The anxious mind, lacking equanimity, creates a drama around being awake. It says, "This is a disaster. I must be asleep." This state of wakefulness is wrong. The equanimous mind, when it finds itself awake at 3 a.m., has a radically different response. It simply notes, wakefulness is present right now. The body is awake. There is no second arrow. There is no panic. There is a deep, accepting peace. The equanimous mind says, if sleep comes, that is fine. If sleep does not come, that is also fine. This quiet time is an opportunity. I can be with my breath. I can practice metta. I can rest peacefully in this state of wakefulness. This radical acceptance is what breaks the vicious cycle of anxiety about not sleeping. It removes the fuel of resistance from the fire of insomnia. By letting go of the desperate need to be asleep, we create the very conditions of peace and surrender that allow sleep to naturally arise. There is a powerful metaphor for the mind of equanimity, that of a great ancient mountain. Its roots are sunk deep into the core of the earth. For eons, it has sat in silent majesty. The weather of the world has raged around it. Fierce winds have howled against its slopes. Dark storm clouds have gathered at its peak. Lightning has flashed, and torrential rains have poured down its sides. In other seasons, the sun has beaten down mercilessly, and great snows have blanketed it in ice. And through it all, what has the mountain done? It has done nothing. It has simply sat. It has not complained about the rain or tried to hold on to the pleasant sunshine. It has not been shaken by the wind or angered by the snow. It has allowed the endless, changing weather of the world to simply happen, while it remains utterly still, stable, grounded, and majestic in its being. Your equanimous mind is this mountain. Your thoughts, your emotions, the ever-changing circumstances of your life, they are merely the passing weather. you can learn to be the mountain. Equanimity, then, is not a lack of feeling, but an abundance of peace. It is the spacious, balanced, and wise heart that is the fruit of all our practice. It is the final result of letting go, the unshakable calm that arises when we stop fighting with reality and learn to live in harmony with its true nature. Having explored the profound freedom of letting go and the unshakable balance of equanimity, we are now ready to bring our entire journey together. We will synthesize everything we have learned in mindfulness, compassion, letting go, and balanceto, paint a picture of what our rest can truly be. In our final session of this part, we will explore the sleep of the awakened one, a state of peace that is not a destination to be reached, but a nature to be realized. Welcome back for the final step of our deep exploration. We began this journey together in the dark, lonely hours of the night, lost in the restless labyrinth of a worried mind. We have since traveled a great distance, not across land or sea, but through the inner landscapes of our own hearts. We have diagnosed the nature of our disease, identified its cause in the burning thirst of craving, and witnessed the mechanism of our own suffering in the clenched fist of clinging. From there, we began to walk the path of healing. We learned to anchor ourselves in the present with mindfulness, to soften our hearts with loving kindness, to lighten our load with the art of letting go, and to find our balance through the wisdom of equanimity. And now we arrive at the culmination of this path. We arrive at the possibility of a new way of being, a new way of resting. We arrive at the sleep of the awakened one. Let us be very clear from the outset. The goal of this entire journey has not, in fact, been to achieve a perfect night's sleep. Good, restorative sleep is a beautiful, natural, and wonderful consequence, a fringe benefit of the work we have done. But it is not the ultimate prize. The true prize is freedom. Freedom from the inner tyranny of anxiety. Freedom from being yanked around by our own thoughts and fears. The ultimate goal is to cultivate a mind that is at peace with itself, whether it is awake or asleep. When you cultivate such a mind, deep sleep simply comes as a natural guest, welcomed into a peaceful home. What does it mean to be free from anxiety? To be awakened? It does not mean that a worried or fearful thought will never again arise in your mind. The weather of the world will continue to be the weather of the world. The winds of gain and loss, praise and blame will continue to blow. The mind will, from time to time, still produce a cloud of thought that says, "What if?" The profound difference, the great and life-altering transformation, is in your relationship to these thoughts. They no longer have the power to possess you. They are no longer mistaken for reality. A thought of worry may arise, but it is seen for what it is, a temporary, impersonal flicker of mental energy. It is a cloud passing through the vast open sky of your awareness. You are the sky, not the cloud. You do not have to believe it. You do not have to fight it. You do not have to follow it. You can simply see it, acknowledge it with the balanced peace of equanimity, and allow it to drift on by, leaving no trace, no stain. This is freedom. It is not the absence of difficult thoughts, but the absolute freedom from being controlled by them. This state of being awake has a beautiful double meaning for us. Firstly, it means that if you do find yourself physically awake in the middle of the night, you are no longer in a state of suffering. You are mindfully awake. You are not fighting. You are not panicking. You are practicing. You are at peace with the reality of being awake, resting in the quiet companionship of your own breath. You are no longer afraid of the dark, or of the quiet, or of your own mind. Secondly, and more deeply, you are spiritually awake. You are awake to the true nature of things. You are awake to the four noble truths we have explored. You see clearly that clinging is what causes suffering, and that letting go is what brings peace. It is this deeper awakeness that is the source of your unshakable rest, a rest that is not dependent on whether your eyes are open or closed. There is a powerful image from the scriptures that embodies this state of perfect, fearless rest. It is the image of the Buddha himself, sleeping. He is not in a fortified palace, not surrounded by guards, not lying on a luxurious bed. He is at the foot of a tree, on a simple pallet of fallen leaves, out in the open wilderness. He has no external security whatsoever, and yet his sleep is described as being deeper and more peaceful than that of any king or emperor. Why? Because his sanctuary was not external. His fortress was within. His peace was not derived from his circumstances. It was the very nature of his own mind. In his mind, the fires of greed, hatred, and delusion had been completely extinguished. The thirst of tanha had ceased. The clinging of upadana had been released. There were no inner wars being fought, no battles raging between hope and fear. His mind was in a state of perfect, silent peace. And so his body could surrender into a state of absolute, profound, and fearless rest. This image is not a myth. It is a portrait of the potential that lies within every human heart. It is a picture of the peace that becomes available when we finally stop fighting with ourselves. This state of inner peace is not a final destination, not a certificate you earn one day and then you are finished. The path has no end, because life has no end until it ends. The practice is the path. Each day, each moment, each breath is a new opportunity to begin again. Even if you have been lost in a storm of anxiety for an hour, the very next breath is a fresh start. It is an invitation from life to come home, to return to the peace that is your true nature. You can never be so lost that you cannot find your way back with the very next breath. This is the profound and endless hope that this path offers. The peace of the awakened one is not something you must build or acquire. It is the very nature of your own mind, which has been temporarily obscured by the clouds of habit. Our entire practice is nothing more than the gentle, patient, and compassionate act of allowing those clouds to part. We have now completed our deep exploration of the path from restlessness to rest, from the chaos of the untamed mind to the profound peace of an awakened heart. Let us, in our final section, gather all of these threads together one last time, summarizing our journey from the initial diagnosis of suffering to the liberating realization of our own inner freedom, and looking forward with confidence toward the open sky of what lies ahead. And so, our long journey together comes to a close. We began in the dark, in the quiet, desperate hours of the night, caught in the relentless theater of the 3 a.m. mind. We were a ship lost in a private storm, tossed about by the waves of memory and the winds of fear. From that place of struggle, we embarked on a path of discovery. We dared to look our suffering in the face, giving it a name, dukkha. We courageously traced its origins to the burning, insatiable thirst of tanha, and we saw with clarity the mechanism of our own imprisonment, the clenched fist of upadana, of clinging. But we did not remain there. In the stark analysis of our own prison, we learned that there was a key, a path to freedom. We discovered the simple, profound, and ever-present anchor of our own breath, a tool to ground us in the only reality that exists, the present moment. We expanded our awareness to inhabit the whole of our bodies, creating a unified sanctuary of presence. From this place of stability, we learned to practice the gentle arts of the heart. We learned to calm the body and the mind, not through force, but through a radical acceptance. We learned to offer ourselves the soothing balm of loving kindness, becoming our own best friend. We learned the liberating secret of letting go, and we touched the unshakable peace of equanimity. We have, in essence, journeyed from being the helpless victim of our own thoughts to becoming the wise and compassionate observer of them. We have learned to stop being the storm and to remember that we are, and have always been, the sky. If there is one great truth to carry with you from our time together, let it be this. Peace is not a destination you will arrive at when all of your problems are finally solved. It is not a fragile state that depends on the world being quiet and orderly. True peace is an inner capacity. It is the ability to find stillness within the noise, to find balance within the storm. It is a sanctuary you build inside your own heart, a refuge that you can access at any moment with a single conscious breath. And so it is with the sleep you have been seeking. The deep, restorative rest you long for is not a battle to be won through force of will. It is not a prize to be wrestled from the clutches of an anxious mind. Sleep is a surrender. It is an act of profound trust. It is the natural, effortless consequence of a mind that has learned to lay down its weapons, to let go of the day, and to allow itself to be held by the vast, quiet rhythm of life itself. The power to find this peace is not something you need to acquire. It is not a secret you must learn from an external authority. It is your own deepest nature, your birthright, waiting patiently to be rediscovered beneath the accumulated habits of a lifetime. The key to this inner kingdom is never further away than your very next breath. It is free. It is always with you. It requires no special equipment, only your gentle, willing attention. Do not simply believe the words you have heard here. Practice them, explore them, test them in the living laboratory of your own experience. The journey does not end here. It begins anew in every moment. It begins tonight, not with a great and strenuous effort, but with the simplest, most humble of gestures. A single conscious breath, breathing in and breathing out. In that is everything.